A sit-down with the boss of the opposition. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh meets with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer this week. Many Democrats and some Republicans worry Kavanaugh will attempt to overturn the Roe v. Wade abortion decision. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
My wife and I are really enjoying retirement. We hope to travel more to see our grandkids. But in the meantime, we're being smarter with our money. We switched our internet plan to iConnect and pay only $45 a month for unlimited service. Now we can video chat with the grandkids whenever we want. And our connection is great in Assen. Let's be practical. Why pay more when we can pay less with iConnect? Visit them at the Micronesia Mall, a Gagnon Shopping Center, or the main office in Upper Tumon. iConnect is the practical choice.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Hafa-day, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Hafa-day, I'm David Cruz.
Together, we
approve this message.
From drought to soggy conditions in the nation's breadbasket.
We've got flooding going on across parts of Kansas. We were in a drought situation there for much of the summer through parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. And then we've had way too much rain so far this month, so we've had flooding going on. And that line of storm slowly moves to the east. Behind it, much cooler air moves in. Yesterday, we were in the 90s. Fargo today, 68 degrees. Tomorrow, that cooler air moves slightly off towards the east and a little bit farther towards the east on Tuesday.
Fox News meteorologist Rick Reichmuth. Massive flooding in the southern India state of Kerala, forcing about 800,000 people from their homes. The floods blamed for more than 370 deaths. Another European nation taking a closer look at its infrastructure.
Last week's deadly collapse of a road bridge near Genoa, Italy, prompted the French government to commission an audit of some of their own crossings. Out of 12,000 government-maintained bridges, about 7%, or nearly 840 of them, are so deteriorated that they're at risk of collapse. The results of the audit were published in this weekend's Journal du Dimanche. Some of the spans in question may need to be shut down. France's Transport Minister Elizabeth Borne says that bridge maintenance is our priority. One thing the recent audit did not address are the thousands of other French bridges that are either privately or locally maintained. Karen McHugh, Fox News.
Striking box office gold.
You really should have told me that you're like the Prince William of Asia.
That's ridiculous. Much more of a Harry.
Crazy Rich Asians opens at number 1, grossing an estimated $25.2 million over the weekend and $34 million since hitting theaters on Wednesday. Meanwhile, a shark thriller swims down to second place.
That thing's out there. We need to find it and kill it.
Why don't you just put a tracker on it? Did you guys ever watch Shark Week?
The Meg taking in $21.2 million, followed by Mark Wahlberg's Mile 22 with $13.6 million. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card, and upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
Hafa-day, this is Jerry Gutierrez. Many remember how committed Carl has been to helping our people during times of hardship, disaster, and financial crisis throughout his years of public service. For Carl, it has always been about people helping people. We would like this opportunity to work on your behalf once again as your governor. I humbly ask for your vote for the Gutierrez-Bordallo team on August 25th. Together, let's make Guam, Guam again.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Team Sunshine 2018, Roy P. Duenas, Treasurer.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. It was a weekend of political rallies for the candidates competing in this coming Saturday's primary election. Voter registration this year is at a 12-year high, just over 53,000. UOG professor Ron McNinch crediting the higher registration to the crowded Democratic gubernatorial field. 4 candidates competing to become the Democratic nominee for governor. Observers also expect a high turnout of perhaps 60% or more this Saturday. However, Republican Party Chairman Jerry Crisostomo points out that may be high for recent elections, but it's low compared to the 80% and more who showed up to vote back in the 1980s and 90s. Guam Election Commission Executive Director Maria Pangilinan reminding voters not to cross over when they vote. Don't vote for a few candidates from one party on one side of the ballot and then flip it over and vote for candidates on the other side. Crossover ballots will not be counted. And remember, when voting for the senatorial candidates, vote for 15 only. Another veteran has come forward claiming to have sprayed Agent Orange on Guam back in the 1970s. Retired Master Sergeant Sidney Tackett was stationed on Guam between 1974 and 79. He told the Guam Daily Post that the spraying was conducted up to a year or two before his departure. He said he knew it was Agent Orange by the type of colored band around the 55-gallon drums it was stored in. Tackett said the spraying was done around the fuel storage tanks, fuel lines around Anderson Air Force Base, the weapons storage area, the bomb storage area, and fuel lines across the island. Tackett's claim comes as we await the final results from soil testing being conducted by local and federal regulatory agencies and a separate investigation by the Government Accountability Office. Soil testing began earlier this year, but the initial results were inconclusive, and additional testing is scheduled in September. The GAO investigation results are anticipated sometime later in the fall. We'll have more news after this.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
I've worked with everyone running for governor. I know what they've done and what they haven't. There have been so many missed opportunities to prevent the crises facing Guam. I know Lou would never have allowed GMH to go without resources. She would have closed the revenue loopholes so that the $8.1 billion military buildup generated additional revenue for Guam. She'll make sure our government lives within its means. I'm Carlotta Leon Guerrero, a Republican, and I'm voting for Lou and Josh.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. A former Department of Corrections officer who's awaiting sentencing after admitting guilt in the prison contraband conspiracy case has been arrested again on allegations of family violence. 34-year-old Furman Lizama Meritita arrested Friday on allegations of aggravated assault, family violence, and disorderly conduct. Meritita was among several corrections officers, maximum security inmates, and civilians who were charged last year in connection with the smuggling of drugs, cell phones, and other contraband into the Manilao prison. Muratita has already signed a plea agreement. He's expected to testify at the trial against the others accused in the conspiracy before he is sentenced. A Dededo man has been charged with vehicular homicide and driving under the influence in connection with the death of 22-year-old Winona Nirachasao last year. 22-year-old Arthur Paul Juanillo was the driver of a pickup that crashed on Route 15 in Jigo in November of 2017. Last year, police say Juanillo was driving at 72 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. Nirachasao was a passenger. She was thrown from the truck and later pronounced dead at GRMC. Juanillo was arrested on Thursday of last week. The crash occurred on November 23rd of last year. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau explained that some traffic investigations take more time because when charges are filed, investigators have to make sure that all the calculations and all the data are accurate. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray now with a look at weather.
Let's take a look at this thing here, which is going to be very wet over the next couple of days as Tropical Storm Cimarron passes through the northern Marianas today while strengthening as the storm moves by. Southwesterly monsoon flow increasing, bringing heavy rain and associated hazards to Guam. The current forecast calls for 4 to 8 inches of rains with locally higher amounts. And if I've got everything right here, should be able to pull in is, do I have somebody from the National Weather Service yet? No, not yet. Okay, we'll work on that. There's a high surf advisory in effect until 6 o'clock Wednesday. High risk of rip currents through 6 o'clock Wednesday morning as well. Flash flood watch now in effect through Tuesday evening, so be out there. Be careful if you're out in the boondocks.
That was Art Perez. Power outage, Lower Tumon in the Outrigger Weston area.
Yeah. Why? Did he say?
He didn't say why, and he couldn't go on the air.
Okay. All right. So if you are in the Lower Tumon area, the power's out. We don't know why. He's going to get some information, some details, and then bring that back to us all day. So the forecast for today, moderate to heavy rain all day long. Be aware of it. And as we normally like to do, we'll take a look at the weather map here in a second. Sunrise at 6:08 this morning. Sunset at 6:40 or so this evening. That's news and weather together. Brought to you by Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
As a mayor, I see the first-hand struggles our people face. I see the real effects of tax increases and what happens when our government cannot deliver the services timely. I've heard the promises made year after year. I know what it really means when these promises go unfulfilled. Who do you trust to finally get things done right? I'm in with Lou and Josh because they have the experience to lead us and deliver what they promise.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
Yeah, right. We're back at 6:14. And as I said, if I do this right, should have somebody from the National Weather Service on the line. Landon is there watching Cimarron moving slowly around the Marianas. Good morning, Landon.
Good morning. How are you doing?
You know, I'm dry now. I wasn't a while ago. I got that short distance, a little tiny distance between the car and how I get into the building was just long enough to about drench me.
Well, I think you timed it just right because we just saw a heavy rain shower go right over Dededo, Jigo areas, dumped upwards of an inch of rain in the last hour. Other parts of Guam right now have been fairly dry, like central and southern Guam.
Mm-hmm.
So that could change throughout the day.
Well, yeah, and so I'm watching this Cimarron. It's out to the east of the Mariana Islands. It's already northeast of Guam, so I'm not necessarily worried that it's going to be any kind of a threat to the region. I think looks like it's going to arc over the top of Maug or something like that in the next day or two. But it is bringing with it some ugly weather, right?
That's correct. We have a lot of hazardous conditions out there. The seas and surf are both hazardous, so stay out of the water today, but also we have a flash flood watch in effect. So these heavy showers, the grounds are saturated. We've had a lot of rainfall in the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So a heavy downpour for about 30 minutes will cause conditions to get real ugly real quick.
How much longer is it going to be like this? Obviously, we've lost a big chunk of Saturday and the political rallies that took place yesterday. We're under some dark and snotty skies. We're going to see some clearing up of this weather. We're going to have to wait until January.
Well, January is more certain, but looks like we're going to see sunnier weather on Wednesday. We could see this windy, rainy weather continue through tonight, through Tuesday, and also through Tuesday night. Wednesday, we'll see a lot drier weather, and maybe some sun.
Now, I'm looking at the satellite imagery, and obviously I'm looking at the central mass that is Cimarron. Is there anything else brewing up around the Marshalls, or anything that's going to bring us some weird weather after this one passes?
No, it's actually pretty peaceful over there. We have a trade wind disturbance going through the Marshall Islands into Koshoi right now. That's going to be weakening as it continues westward. We don't see any potential for development out of that. There's also another disturbance beyond the dateline. Similarly, it's going to be pretty quiet. So finally, we can let our guard down just a little bit. But the important thing is, remember, we're coming up into September, and we still got a lot of typhoon season left. So, yeah.
Just be prepared. Always be prepared. This condition of readiness right now is what I like to call it, and you make sure that you've got, you know where the flashlights are, you know where the clean water is, and the toilet paper, and always have gasoline in the car. So I'm looking at the radar imagery right now. Is there anything particular that you can tell me about this? And as you said, saw some wet weather go over the northern end of the island, and it looks like there's a couple of things brewing off to the west that might be bringing us some weather later this afternoon.
Yes, if you're looking at the radar and you know what you're looking at, there's like this banding feature of moderate to heavy showers going right over central northern Guam, and that extends towards the west-northwest. We have all that stuff cycling in towards Guam, so probably over the next several hours it could get a little bit wetter and wetter later this morning as these showers fill in. Then there's a drier spot over Rota, but then there's another rain band farther north between Rota and Tinian.
Yep.
That's going to be pushing southward.
So there's a long way of going around to say it's going to be wet today.
It's going to be wet. I mean, several people have said it's starting to feel like Christmas over here. So, you might want to string up the lights today.
The hard mornings. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world to wake up early in the morning to go work out or go to the radio station or something like that. But it's even tougher on mornings like this, where the inside of the house is exactly the right cool temperature, and you just want to roll yourself up in the blanket and stay in bed until it's Friday again.
That's so true, and unfortunately for us, the forecasters, it's been a long several days. We're working long shifts, and of course my brother, Brandon, he jumped ship, and he's up on Mount Fuji right now.
I heard. I saw a picture of him trying to get, to the top before sunrise?
I think he made it. Ohio.
Ohio gozaimasu. All right, talk to you pretty soon, Landon. You have a terrific day. It's 6:18 in the morning, and that's all of the weather that we've got for you, and the explains on what it is that is out there and why it's bringing us the kind of weather that we have. So he says, it might clear up by Wednesday. Feel better? Good. This is 93.3 The Point. We'll be back. Am I still in the break? I can never tell now. So portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's. They've been serving you terrific meals for the last 40 years or something like that. And they keep track of what you like. Great daily lunch specials. And today, the daily lunch special is, what is it today? It's not meatloaf. It's not beef tenactac. It's, Salisbury. It's Salisbury steak. Yum. Try that for lunch today at King's.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
Portions of the program brought to you by Security Title, when you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transactions. Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details. Now it's time for a Wendy's Break the definition of a successful lunch. Half a cup of fruit, a half a cup of dairy, and a half a cup of, that's 3 half cups. All right, a complete day's worth of vegetables and over half of your protein needs for the day. Wendy's new seasonal berry burst chicken salad has all of that. Make it a successful lunch at Wendy's. Now that's better.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
a beautiful day, isn't it? Isn't it just you go outside and you just kind of want to take off a layer or two of clothes and stand out there and enjoy the warm and the sunshine that's just falling from the sky. Okay, that's not today. That's a narrative for a different day. Today is going to be a little bit more on the, hey, where did I put my raincoat kind of day, right? Hey, is it possible? You know where, and people might have heard me this morning talking with Landon about getting drenched in the short distance between the door of the radio station and the car door this morning. And you might be thinking, well, wait, Ray, don't you have an umbrella? Don't you have some means of protecting yourself from the weather, from the elements on days like today? And the answer is yes, I do. It was in my office. It was behind the door in my office. Because the last time it rained, I said, I'm just going to put this here, and I will remember to take it to my car so I can use it again. Did I? No, I did not. I did not. I'm becoming it, and I don't know. I don't think it's an age thing. It's just there's this stuff that you forget. If it's not raining, you're not thinking about the umbrella.
That's right. And Friday wasn't bad.
No, Friday wasn't bad, and Saturday wasn't bad either.
Not through most of the day. It started getting a little funny in spots at times in the evening, but
not where I
still
was.
Wasn't too bad.
Not where I was.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to do something I'd never ever done before, and without saying too much of it, it involved traipsing around the boondocks of Inarajan.
Oh, nice.
And then there was one part of it. It's kind of a land hike, and then there was the water hazard, which was to swim from one side of the Inarajan Bay to the other side of the Inarajan Bay, which was also something that I never, in 56 years, man and boy, I'd never done anything like that. And I was with a bunch of people and had an absolutely terrific time. And for the most part, stayed dry. Until fairly late in the evening when the party started to die down because it was beginning to rain, which was actually, and then apparently started to rain and then didn't stop most of the day yesterday, right?
That's
under cloudy skies,
pretty much, and it just it did. The morning wasn't bad. I actually went and did my laundry yesterday morning, and you could see it coming in. It's like, okay, guys, you can see this starting to shape up. And, by the afternoon and evening, of course, it was done.
Jeff Pleadwell reporting 2.8 inches of rainfall at Pirates Cove just in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And Brad chiming in this morning. What a great website and weather station that Jeff has got.
Yes, he does.
Jeff's, what is it? Weather.jeffspiratescove.com on the World Wide Web. It's,
for a long time,
where I go.
Yeah, for a long time, we typhoon guys. When I first got here, Jeff's site was actually my point of reference until I got used to how things work over here, because I've always been an Atlantic guy, and this is a different world over here.
Oh yeah.
The storms are different, and everything's the weather's much different here. So we've got a lot of useful information. It's there on Jeff's website, and of course, updated daily information. It's good stuff.
All right, already just a huge number of people on Facebook Live watching the program. I suppose we better hit the button on the Cheers theme.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
And there's Uncle Ted there. I see Randy Kruger and Ron of Zahid, Tommy Barcinas, Lynn, Vince, Borja Polino. Good morning, Lillian Cruz, who reported to me that she said I looked cold because I was wearing the coat. I took it off because now the temperature is regular in the room right now. I should be all right. Nick Prolosky. Good morning, Carl and Jerry Gutierrez. You might recognize the names as one of them is running for governor again. Michael King is on. Happy, joy. It's Monday, says Nick. Not. Tom Tahadzi is there. Anita Santos. Good morning. Bill Pettit's waving this morning. Jim Howard's giving me a thumbs up for the weekend. Nice. Jackie D is good morning to let me see here. Ashley, pretty Ashley is there. Carmen Leon Guerrero, Frank F. Akfadzi. Say good morning to, who else is there? Anita Muffness. Levon Guerrero Meno is on. Good morning, Chuck Sanchez. Bertman and Sala with a great piece of advice this morning. Drive safe. Turn on the headlights on the car so that you can see a little bit better, but even more so that the other cars can see you. I see Terry Pablo Malari. Sue Lee is there. Doris Doug Mitchell. Good morning. Charlie Laron. Mark Anthony. Anthony, Rico Blancaflor, Kate Baltazar. I see Melissa Salas Akimoto. I already mentioned Jeff Pleadwell and his reports of 2.8 inches of rain just at his place in Telefofo overnight. Joe Cruz, Dora Marie Ferger, and Jeff Ojeda, Amanda Shelton. And if you got it, is it today's? The Daily Post has been doing their write-ups on the senatorial candidates, and I want to say it's either in today's or yesterday. No, it's in today's. It'll be in today's Daily Post, right?
Gubernatorial was Sunday.
Gubernatorial was
and
yesterday.
Senators today.
Yeah. So if you want to see what Amanda's going to be all about, if she is lucky enough to get the nod from among all the rest of the voters, you can go and check out the Daily Post. As he said, yesterday was all the gubernatorial candidates, and maybe there's a couple of surprises in there about people that you thought you knew. Rick Leone. Good morning, Dave Duenas, and I think I said Frank Ikfazi. All right. Maybe it is a memory thing. Maybe it is one of those. Or maybe you know what? It's a Monday thing. That's what it is. Can we give today a name already? Can we name Monday? I'm going to name Monday. Are you ready?
Okay.
It's $1 Million Monday.
Okay.
It's $1 Million Monday. If my notes are correct, there should be about $1 million worth of tax refund checks going out. Kev, you got that story, right? Kevin?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have that story about $1 million worth of checks going out today?
We certainly do.
All right.
It was in Saturday's paper. Yeah.
The Department of Administration, but they were saying they were going to send it out, but today's the day it's actually, so the checks are supposed to get in the mail.
They said on Friday, they cut the checks on Friday, and they're going to send them out today. That's right.
All right. And of course, there's a note in here. There's always a note from the governor's office these days talking about the tax and revenue anticipation note that the legislature denied them back in, what was that, January or February, I think was the last time they'd had a serious conversation about that.
Yeah, but it dates back to last year.
But the tax and revenue anticipation note continues to come up in conversations about tax refunds going out, and more these days, conversations about the what is it, the
Section 30.
Section 30. Yeah. And I'm trying to sort out all of and I've got all the different letters that you have copied me on. This one here from the United States Department of the Interior, which is basically telling Governor Eddie Jerome Baza-Calvo and anybody else that's got a copy of this that thanks very much for thinking that your threshold is going to be $120 million, but our records indicate that in order to use a base year for your threshold amount, we can't use 2014. There was a lot of money moving in and out of it, so I think we've got to get used to the idea that what we're going to get in Section 30 money this year is going to be $68 million.
No.
No?
No.
It's not?
No.
Okay. Why not?
$68 million is the base, the guarantee of what the Section 30 funds will be at least every year.
Okay.
But if you see the letter that was released by the Congresswoman, what does that say?
It says $68 million, but they're going to be withholding some of that.
No, it says that they're
which part are you reading?
Yeah, they're going to be withholding about $6.4 million.
But the base
but
amount
the Office of Insular Affairs has informed me that Treasury collected $75+ million in fiscal year 2015, and it will hold the balance of $6.4 million for deposit in the War Claims Fund.
Right.
Right. So that's the amount that's going to be deducted. The amount will be withheld from GovGuam's estimate of $78 million. So if you subtract $6 million from 78, what do you get?
72.
There you go.
So that's what we should be getting for 2015.
Maybe. The final figures are not in.
All right, and we won't know that until August the 31st.
But there's no definitive $68 million. That's just not entirely accurate.
Okay, so but that's what we're supposed to be getting for this year.
That's the base that's guaranteed every year, but it could be more. And if the government of Guam has requested $78 million. Lester did a week and a half ago, and he felt confident that that was conservative amount.
But
so if they approve it, as they usually have, last year they approved $78 million. $6.4 million of that 78 will go towards war claims.
War claims.
Leaving how much? About 72.
Okay. So that's what we might.
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 Okay.
Still up in the air.
Yeah. So, but again, August the 31st is when the Interior or the Department of
Thereabouts.
Tax is supposed to have those numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the Congresswoman says in her letter.
That's why I have Kevin here, because this is a complex thing, this Section 30, and you need to have all of the data. And the other part of it, one of the things that makes it a little bit more difficult was there was a poison pen memo that went out last week that blamed the difference between $78 and $68 million on information that had come out of the legislature, but I haven't seen any of that in any of the documentation from the Fed.
Yeah, it's an old feud that's apparently spilled over.
Kicking
into
back
this.
up around.
Yeah.
631 888-8255 is a telephone number. That's 888-8255. If you're doing the WhatsApp thing, you may WhatsApp me at 988-5874. That's 988-5874. This morning on the WhatsApp, I did get a copy of, apparently there's a new Kill, Death Frank hit piece that is out there. And I haven't had a chance to hear it yet. I got it. I noticed it after we had already kind of launched things on the program. And so there's two things that I'm told you need to know about. It is number one, it's a Kill, Death hit piece against Frank, and number two, it is also not. I'm being told now that it is definitely not from the Rodriguez camp.
Yeah,
it is. Don't blame us. We didn't make this.
But somebody seems really worried that Uggan and Limtiaco are going to make a serious run for things.
Still days to go.
Yeah.
Still days to go. That's. I think that's going to be the interesting thing about this week. Is we are going to see a number of things. I'm not surprised that there's another Kill, Death piece out there.
Oh, no.
That doesn't surprise me. We get to 5 days between now and the primary election. That doesn't surprise me. I think there's probably going to end up being more.
And for the first time, I saw a Ray Tenorio ad on social media.
Really?
It was on YouTube. Yeah, it popped on last night, yesterday evening.
I've not seen any of that.
Well, it's actually a very.
I didn't spend a lot of time in the social medias and online this weekend.
I've got to say, he had a nice uplifting message of positivity in his message.
Nothing about the gun grab incident. Nothing like that.
No.
Okay, was he talking about free tuition?
He was.
That's the big plank here. Hey, it's 6:33 in the morning. We got to break into headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. Netcara sent a letter to the Department of Administration advising Director Edward Byrne that the company will terminate all health insurance coverage for GovGuam employees and retirees when the current contract expires at the end of the fiscal year on September 30th. Netcare Plan Administrator Jerry Crisostomo told the Post that Netcare has received a request from the DOA director to extend for 3 months as required in the current contract. He said Netcare recognizes that clause in the contract, but they're terminating because of unpaid premiums. The decision affects roughly 3,800 members and their families who are covered by Netcare's Government of Guam health insurance plan. At the start of this month, Crisostomo said Netcare was owed roughly $1.5 million in unpaid premiums. Some funding has been identified for a full-time administrative director at the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, but it needs some funding from the legislature. CLTC Chairwoman Pika Fearon says the commission needs to approach lawmakers for a supplemental appropriation. Commission officials met with Governor Calvo earlier this month to talk about the hiring of a director, one of several initiatives underway since the Barragata Heights land lease controversy. Fearon says the CLTC also needs the legislature's help with the hundreds of voidable and voided leases, which the commission has not yet acted on. Voidable leases may be ratified by the commission, but there's no authority to address voided leases. The leases stemming from improper transfers can only be remedied through legislative action. Police are investigating an armed robbery at a Harmon game room early last Wednesday morning. The attendant of the Winner Game Room on Route 16 Army Drive told police that he heard loud bangs in the game room around 4:40 a.m. He told police he noticed an unknown man using a metal object trying to gain access to the gaming machine's money box. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau reports the attendant told police he confronted the suspect but was threatened with that metal object, so he retreated back into the cashier's cage and called police. The man fled in a white sedan traveling south on Route 16. He's described as having a slim build, standing about 5 feet 5 inches tall. He was last seen wearing a camouflage jacket, blue jeans, and a black mask. Anyone with information about the crime asked to call Guam police at 472-8911, or those who want to remain anonymous can call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 6:36. That's iConnect time. They are the practical choice out there. Believe it, they don't think that you ought to spend any more money than you absolutely have to for things like mobile and internet and push-to-talk. iConnect, the practical choice.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Hafaday, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Hafaday, I'm David Cruz.
Together,
we approve this message.
Subway signature wraps deliver crave-worthy sandwiches that are filling and delicious. Your wraps loaded with meat, packed with flavors. Get yours today at Subway. Make it what you want.
You've been waiting, and now it's here. Furniture Kathy Style's grand opening after 12 months of putting together an exciting, delicious, salivating, full-scale, real furniture store that has absolutely everything you need for a beautiful home. Beautiful textures, up-to-date styles, and prices that will blow your mind during our grand opening. Starting now, Furniture Kathy Style throughout the store. Bargains, bargains, bargains. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña. Open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Portions of the program brought to you by MRE. That's Micronesia Renewable Energy and APL. American President Lines is shipping the future.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just swipe your Power Pass key fob when you purchase Circle K Premium Coffee, any size. And after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
6:38 in the morning. Is there traffic right now? Well, let me turn on the traffic gizmo because I forgot to turn it on already, and see if there's anything that is out there that is worth reporting. And sure enough, first thing that pops up is going to be Marine Corps Drive, right in front of Kmart and the John F. Kennedy intersection. As you're making your way down towards John F. Kennedy High School, you will experience some slowing down, probably around that Chinese Memorial Park. Seeing a little bit of traffic moving slowly out of Tumon, in between Pac Star and the Fiesta Resort. That area there, that corridor there, looks like it's starting to build up. Looking at traffic in front of Guam Regional Medical City, that intersection there is going to be building up here in just a little bit. Looking to see if there's anything up at Anderson Air Force Base. Nope. Looks clear going into that particular place. Looks clear getting into Naval Hospital right now, and things definitely not going to slow you down as you're making your way through Sumai this morning. That's what's happening in traffic right now on The Point.
Stay clean and connected with Docomo Pacific and mobile. For a limited time, stop by any participating mobile store and get a free chamois when you purchase $10 worth of Docomo Pacific prepaid load. Keep your car looking spotless when you go prepaid. With the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas, you plus Docomo Pacific, better together. Offer valid while supplies last, some conditions apply.
The Ray Gibson Show. Your new News Talk headquarters.
Oh, it's nice. You know, I started mentioning people's names watching online at the Facebook Live, and all of a sudden, pooh, there's a whole bunch more. Rick Leonis there, Ismael Velez, Neats, good morning, Jules Tejano, Mark Colby, Eunice Mendiola, Renee Lau is up early this morning, Marvin Ike Itheki, Huffa Felix Ray. Just great to have you guys online and watching the process here in the building. And there's a little bit of a process that we're going to be going through as we make our way through this Monday. And I got a feeling it's going to be a fast week. Like I said, it would not surprise me if we saw more kill, death videos floating around. And seems to me that Frank Uggan seems to have been the guy that is probably been most, I don't know, his images and his words have been most used or misused, as the case is. And like I said, there's a whole nother one this morning, and the word is that it did not come. It is not from the Rodriguez-Cruz campaign, just FYI. Wonder why they're stressing that. Is there something in the video that that would have me believe that? Dennis, not that kind of guy. Here's the other thing that we can expect today. I got this, an invitation to the Democratic Unity Pledge signing, which is going to take place today at noon. And the body of the email goes, half a day during the last Central Executive Committee meeting on Tuesday, July 31st, a motion was made and unanimously passed for the Democratic candidates to sign a unity pledge. Additionally, we've included our Democratic mayors and vice mayors to join in the pledge. It's like the half-a-day pledge. And basically, the way the pledge would work is that regardless of the outcome of the primary gubernatorial election for the Democrats, regardless of the outcome, the idea behind the Unity Pledge is that the three losers and the supporters of the three losers would then rally behind the winner of the primary election and carry them on their shoulders to victory in Adelup in 2018. That's the idea. I don't know that it always works out that way. Certainly, we've seen campaigns go really, really hard, really, really low in the last few days of an election. And that's kind of hard for some guys to get past in the wake of especially a very disappointing primary election. And so they're going to sign all the paperwork today, but we'll see how it plays out on Monday. In the cold light of the morning after the Monday after the gubernatorial primary for the Democrats. Actually, we might actually see it earlier. I mean, this is how you would know if it was a successful kind of unity pledge drive, if you will, is if you see all four candidates out on Marine Corps Drive, probably over at Kapua, waving at everybody. And so you'd have the winner and then the three losing teams, but they'd all be there simultaneously. We've seen in the past, it's always nice, no matter what the results of an election are, the next morning to see guys out there on the streets waving. And maybe we're going to get some of that here. The Democratic Party of Guam is going to be having their Unity Pledge signing taking place at noon today, and that will be a headline tomorrow. Watch out for that as people are going to come forward and take advantage of the opportunity to get the last week's worth of free earned media is one of the things I call it. And we'll see if there's a chance to do that here, because there's still stuff going on. There's still actual work going on. So while there's a number of incumbents that probably would like to be spending more time out on the streets waving and having a good time with voters in that, there's still work taking place over at the legislature. And I was delighted to see and report to you last week that we were moving into a time where there was going to be an actual oversight hearing of the Department of Revenue and Taxation. And for many of the same reasons, many of the things that came up in that conversation were things that I brought up here in this program, because we get this tax amnesty here, and what is the number? They believe that they'd be able to collect about $73 million in taxes that are out there, and some of those monies would come in via this aggressive tax amnesty program, and we're seeing money come in.
We are.
Yes.
Yes.
How much?
I understand it's up to 26.
26
million
if everybody
out of the
paid.
33.
So if everybody paid.
If everybody paid, it would be
6th.
33. It would be 33 million. That's what's pledged. 26 million has come in, last I heard.
All right, and so the question that I had been asking out loud on the radio, and I'm glad that I think Joe S. must have heard me asking this question, because we all want to find out the same thing: how much in interest and penalties are we losing?
That hasn't been calculated yet, according to that here.
I mean, it's numbers you can get, but apparently they're not all the same kind of taxes. So they would have different interest and penalty rates associated with them. But nobody's done the calculations on that yet.
Not yet. But John Camacho promised he would run that report.
Sure. Yeah, I'll bring that to you after the election, okay, guys? Because I'm kind of busy now, basically. So there's that, and then there's the other idea that they're saying that people are watching, and I've been saying that for a while. I got to be careful with amnesties, because you do an amnesty too often, and you pointed out that we haven't done a tax amnesty program in the last 10 years, right?
Right.
Yeah. But maybe that's often enough for people that have got a 10-year plan in their head. You know what? I'm not going to pay my taxes. I'm not going to, because number one, it'll take them forever to even recognize that I'm not paying my taxes because they've got this old, hardly automated information technology system. So it would take them a while, unless they were actually looking at me all the time. It would take them a while to recognize that I had not actually paid any of my taxes. And then the other part of it is, even if it takes them 7 to 10 years, they'll just prop up. There'll be another fiscal crisis out there. There will always be a need for somebody to call amnesty, and so they will. And then I'll go ahead and make good on those payments.
That might have worked.
Then I won't have to pay the interest and penalties.
In the years ahead, in this current environment, I think that we're going to see some stepped-up enforcement. So I wouldn't count on that.
I would hope so. I would hope so. I think that's one of the other things is there's got to be the carrot and the stick. You can't always be walking around with the carrot that is the amnesty program. Just saying. And then there's a couple other stories. The PNC has done a couple of these. Jeff Marchessault, very good story on that. St. Augustine demands tax amnesty, P&L losses, because I think that's important stuff. And then Janella did another story, DOI letter, and this is something that Kevin and I were talking about last week. Was looking at the letter from the Department of Interior to the governor, and I'm trying to. I got to get my hands on the one that came out of the governor's office that made a connection between the lower amount of Section 30 monies and I think over-exaggerated the idea that Guam's Democratic leadership was the culprit in all of this. And so Janella writes, however, PNC obtained a copy of the letter from the Interior to the governor, and nowhere does it state that Guam will only be receiving $68 million in FY19. It also does not mention Guam's Democratic leadership as the culprit behind the reduced amount or any other number. And so I'm wondering, where it was that the drama department got that. Remember, we spoke with Les Carlson that morning, and he says, yeah, there's something. Maybe not all three of them, maybe just one of them. I scoured the letter and didn't find anything.
No, neither did I.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a curiosity piece between us and the folks over in what I like to refer to as the drama department over at the department at Adelup. I think maybe we'll just start calling it the entertainment division of the Calvo Tenorio administration. 648. Mayor Robert Hoffman's on the line. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm doing well.
You know what? I'm doing okay. Just I'm happy because I get to hear you more often in those Lulian Guerrero commercials.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I thought that was interesting here. Hey, quick question: is the government of Guam stiffing anybody else here besides Sanctuary and Cocoa Recycling?
Not that we were made aware of. I know that I'm the vice president of Gumamami. I know that Gumamami is also behind in payments, but not as bad as Sanctuary. So. These are just a few things that were brought to our attention. And the hard part is that, there were several mayors who were mayors during PACA's cleanup time, and changed administrations during that time from Carl to Felix. And so, it's just a series of unfortunate events for these things. And, the government was very quick to settle other debts. They're trying to pay off Y2K. They're trying to pay off, I think they paid off the lead zone landfill owners. So, it's like, why were they given priority over others? So we kind of just wanted to make sure that fair is fair.
What are you asking? What are you just asking out loud on the radio? with those two cases specifically, and the family names that are associated with those two cases?
No, just that whatever debt is there that the government does, those be honest about it and pay it. I mean, it's unfortunate that has to happen during our time, and but if there is mechanisms there, and all we're asking the legislature is find a way to settle this, because I just think as any kind of business owner, I would be very weary of trying to do business with Guam, knowing, hey, you never know if this.
Well, there's $15 million outstanding. It's $15 million with Cocoa Recycling, right?
I believe it's 15 or 10. I think it's 10, or it might be less now.
I don't know. I believe it started off as $15 million.
Yeah, it started off at 15, and then and these were numbers that not from us, not from anybody else. These were stuff that were settled on and a while ago, and they were all certified that yes. And he actually even showed that he removed more than what was there. And so Guam being typhoon season, it's going to be interesting if we ever, knock on wood, get that again, and we have to all do these major cleanups, and it's going to be, well, who's going to do this, and who's going to want to accept all this waste?
I don't disagree with that point here, but I do want to let's talk about the genesis of where they would be getting paid from. Is that the recycling revolving fund?
That's one. It was just it's trying to identify an account. So I think it was $250,000 a year for the next 10 years or something like that. That's what that was one of the options. But we're just saying, we not necessarily saying use the recycling revolving fund. We're saying pay the debt. Let's figure out a way to pay the debt. I think Trammell Land Trust offered him some kind of credit on that, but he's looking for that money. And Mr. Bello is a businessman. Mr. Bello was kind enough to wait this long, so we're just saying find a way to pay it.
Yeah, and now if it were to come out of the recycling revolving fund, and as you guys in the mayor's office know, we still don't really have any rules and regulations for that. It's kind of tricky on figuring out how the monies are used and for what purposes they can be used for. Obviously, in something like this,
appropriation. Yeah, it's not a continuing appropriation to the mayor's council. This year, I believe in this budget bill, $2.9 million was given to EPA. The previous years, the recycling revolving fund was actually money was taken out there to pay for the receiver. I think they bought uniforms and some trucks with it, and so it's not always gone to the mayor's council. We've gone it there. I think every so many years it comes to us to issue out purchase orders so we can get junk cars and batteries and stuff removed. But one of the biggest things we've been asking for now is green waste. How to handle the green waste? And we're still producing more and more green waste. We're trying to fight invasive species, and it's not like it's going away. It's not going to stop.
Burn it.
I can't recycle anything that's burned. There's no recyclable value after it's burnt into ashes. So we're like, yeah, we can use it for planting, and they're like, that's a stretch. And so, they're saying let's mulch it, whichever else. So we're trying to find other ways to work on it. But I think that's one of the biggest requests that we get as mayors is handling of green waste. People have rotted coconut trees, or they want to take down a mango tree. So we'll see. And our thing is also with Mr. Bello is why did the federal government at the time come in and help out at that time? I don't know if FEMA was something different with FEMA at the time. Did they say, no, we can't cover this? Because they're usually good about covering costs, especially from typhoon.
I couldn't tell you. It's that's so long ago, and we're talking about debris and waste cleanup from Typhoon Paka, and it's a whole generation of people that have grown up without having to even think about those kinds of things.
Yep. So it's hopefully the government finds a way. He's been patient enough. It may not be tomorrow. Maybe next year that they put into something. Maybe as all this Section 30 money comes in, or the buildup comes in, the tax rolls look better, they find a way to settle this. But we as mayors, just when we heard the story, we're like, what?
It makes it more difficult for you guys to do business with, and frankly, we need more of that kind of thing going on now. And it seems to me that every other day, front page of the newspaper is talking about the problems that mayors are having dealing with trash and unlicensed dumps in the villages.
And vendors, yes, it's hard. We did get the money, and people were shocked. I think there was a story the other day saying there was $900,000 left over. It's finding qualified contractors. There's not enough people to go out there and who are licensed to pick up these things and to make these clearances. So, we're on waiting list after waiting list, and then with the process of government in terms of just issuing and settling bills and then paying the bills, some of these contractors are like, yes, I have a purchase order with you. I did some work for you in January, February, and I'm not going to do it until I get paid. And so we have vendors in the mayor's council who provided services to the mayors who haven't been paid since October.
Since the beginning of the fiscal year?
Yes. So we had that discussion, yes, on this last meeting go around. So we're trying to figure out where the bottleneck is, where it's being stalled, whether it's invoice verification, maybe it's something difficult. But we've heard that there's some places that some mayors have said that they have vendors who basically told them no more. Mm-hmm. So there's not much we can do.
Yeah, well, you can't blame this, which is the basis for the original question that I asked you when we got you on the air was, Mayor Hoffman, who else is the government of Guam stiffing? So it's cocoa recycling for sure. Sanctuaries owed, I believe, to the tune of about $60,000. It wasn't that long ago that a lot of work that is being done in the mayor's offices now, senior centers in the mayor's office, was being done by Catholic Social Services, and they finally decided that they couldn't take it anymore and gave that project back to Gov Guam.
That's right, and that's one of the things that we've taken on, and we were informed that we're going to continue to take it on past this fiscal year. So there was no bidders, and I think that's the dangerous part. We can end up in a situation where, you know, nobody wants to provide these things, and so yes, we can probably do it cheaper, but it's an on our plate, and the hard part is our main central office has been tasked to do it, and so we've taken on additional employees, and we don't have that kind of expertise in there in terms of trying to process these things out. So it's also creating the delay in paperwork, because now you're having to balance the paperwork for senior center, adult daycare, or regular mayor's operations. So it's quite a number. It's just two girls down there, and I really feel bad for them, and they're trying their best. And so on Wednesday, we were trying to find a way to. We've asked the legislature, can we get at least one more person down there, or two people to just help push things along, especially for these contracts that we've taken on. And, you know, we know the situation in the government, so we were denied.
Yeah, so the answer is no, and just going to have to find out ways to deal with it, because I remember asking the question pretty clearly, if we were not paying, and I understand that there's certain of these funds are federal funds, but if we still weren't paying the Catholic Social Services for their work, what made anybody think that those dollars would magically appear just because the mayors were doing it?
That's right.
So that was another one of my predictions that came true eventually, huh?
That's right. And even with the school grass cutting money, we have yet to receive this year's allotment for the grass cutting money. So a lot of the mayors who have cutting schools with these small business contractors, we're working off money from previous years. We have not gotten one dime for the FY18 grass cutting contracts. About $400,000 has not been transmitted from DOA to the Mayor's Council. That's supposed to go to help pay the small businesses. So we're also having a difficult time, you know, not with just the weather, but also paying these small businesses.
So I suppose maybe let me rephrase the question for you, Mr. Mayor. Who is the government not stiffing? What bills are getting paid from the central fund, huh? That's a big question for. Hey, listen, I'm going to let you run here, but I'm going to leave you with a story that's at front page of today's Guam Daily Post, which give you an idea of in my mind that there's probably a little less hope in sight. Netcare is definitely ending their contract for health insurance with the government of Guam,
and that's unfortunate. We have a lot of employees that have Netcare. So again, it's going to figure out how much is it going to cost the employee this year. So we'll wait to see what the rates are going to be.
Yeah, and what their plan is going to be. So effective at the end of the fiscal year, Netcare is no longer going to be among the providers in the government of Guam. Kevin Kerrigan worked on that story. Might spend a couple of minutes with him before the top of the hour talking about that. Mayor Hoffman, always fun talking with you. Mr. Subtle, you're so subtle.
Make sure you vote. I know a lot of us mayors are going to be out there helping clear storm drains. It's been crazy weather.
I'll vote. I'll vote. You know, that's my plan. I'm going to go and vote in each village.
At least come by. Take pictures with everybody.
You know I will, buddy. I'll see you pretty soon.
Wait for you to run. All right. Take care.
6:58. Liz, I don't have it. You know, there's smarter people than me over at the legislature and in the governor's office, and if they can't figure out how we're going to get blood from this stone and be able to pay all of the bills in the government of Guam, and you think about that, it's, you know, as tight as things are right now, and being able to make payroll, and it sounds like maybe the only reason why we're able to make payroll is because there's a whole bunch of people that ain't getting paid that have provided services to the government of Guam. It's true. Works like that. I got a note from somebody asking me to talk about the gala that is coming up. Of course, please mention the Mark Gala, Navigating Our Past to Chart Our Destiny. It'll take place on the 21st at the Sheraton Laguna Resort. That's tomorrow night, honoring Father Eric Forbes and Dr. Larry Cunningham. Tickets are $50, so you might want to see if you can grab a couple of those from the Micronesia Area Research Center. And if you can't get a hold of somebody there, get a hold of me, and I'll see if I can help you arrange some contacts, because it sounds like it's going to be a fun party. And it's not a dress-up. It's a gala, but it's not black tie and fancy sparkly dress. You can still wear them if you want to, right? But you don't absolutely have to. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnia. This is 93.3 The Point. The Ray Gibson Show continues with Fox News and Kevin Kerrigan for the Guam Daily Post coming up.
Another tweet storm over the Russia election meddling probe. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. President Trump lashing out at the New York Times for a report that says White House lawyer Don McGahn extensively cooperated with special counsel Mueller.
The president tweeting this morning, quote, the failing New York Times wrote a story that made it seem like the White House counsel had turned on the president, when in fact it is just the opposite, and the two fake reporters knew this. In another tweet, he claimed some members of the media are very angry at the fake story in the New York Times. They actually called to complain and apologize. The president did not give any names or other information to support that claim.
Fox's Ellison Barber covering the president from Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. The Times standing by the story. President Trump took away his security clearance, but former CIA Director John Brennan isn't taking it quietly. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Steve Brennan, a former CIA director, has been a vocal critic of the president and maintains his clearance being stripped is mainly because of that. On NBC's Meet the Press, he said he's exploring the options in front of him. He says that includes conversations with lawyers.
They have already given me their thoughts about the basis for a complaint, an injunction, to try to prevent him from doing this in the future.
The president tweeted Saturday that Brennan would go down as the worst CIA director, but Brennan says he may fight, even if it means his reputation could suffer. Steve.
Thank you, Gernal. Jury deliberations resume tomorrow in the fraud trial of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort.
This will be day 3 of jury deliberations as they review all the evidence from the trial, including testimony from 27 witnesses and hundreds of exhibits prosecutors presented, including financial statements, loan applications, tax documents, emails, and photographs. During the first day of deliberations, the jury passed a note to the judge asking 4 questions, including, please define reasonable doubt.
Fox's Garrett Tenney in Washington. Fox News, fair and balanced.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Hafa-day, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Hafa-day, I'm David Cruz.
Together,
We approve this message.
Sizzling hot, that's what our special summer loan is, with rates as low as 4% and amounts up to $50,000. You can use your money for whatever you want, like back to school expenses, tuition, travel, or paying down expensive credit cards. A sizzling hot special summer loan with great rates as low as 4% at Bank Pacific today.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal credit opportunity lender. Conditions apply. As low as 4% APR.
4 years ago today, ISIS militants in Syria beheaded American journalist James Foley. At least one other American journalist remains missing in Syria, but the State Department believes Austin Tice is still alive 6 years after he vanished.
We don't know exactly who's holding him. We know he was detained at a checkpoint. We don't know who manned that checkpoint or, who was there. Frankly, if we knew exactly who was holding him now, it would make things much easier.
Austin's father, Mike Tice, on Fox News. Mark Tice, correction, on Fox News. 2 more states holding primaries this week.
Voters in Alaska and Wyoming head to the polls Tuesday. Neither state considered a toss-up come November. Alaska's only House member, Don Young, is facing some Republican primary challengers. 4 candidates are vying for the Democratic nomination. Young is the Dean of the House, the longest-serving member in office since 1973. Wyoming voters also head to the polls. Incumbent Republican Senator John Barrasso facing a handful of primary challengers, but he's considered a heavy favorite to win re-election in the solidly Republican state. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A Cape Cod beach where a shark attacked a man last week will stay closed for now.
Long Nook Beach on Cape Cod in Massachusetts remains closed until further notice due to, quote, continued shark activity. 61-year-old William Lighton of New York is reportedly in fair condition this weekend after he was bit in his torso and legs by a shark on Wednesday. It's suspected the bite came from a great white shark.
Fox's Brian Yennis. A party pooper ends up in jail after police say he waved a gun at a high school dance in Arizona. Authorities say Robert Layton drove to the high school Friday night and complained the music was too loud. Witnesses say the 72-year-old pulled out a gun, then pulled wires in an attempt to turn the music off. But it was the DJ who saved the day, tackling the suspect and disarming him. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card. And upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
Half a day. This is Jerry Gutierrez. Many remember how committed Carl has been to helping our people during times of hardship, disaster, and financial crisis throughout his years of public service. For Carl, it has always been about people helping people. He would like this opportunity to work on your behalf once again as your governor. I humbly ask for your vote for the Gutierrez-Bordallo team on August 25th. Together, let's make Guam again.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Team Sunshine 2018, Roy P. Duenas, Treasurer.
Hi, this is Kathy Sorensen. Some of you may remember me as the lady who bought too much furniture and passed on the savings to you. I'm back with Furniture Kathy style, and prices are rolled back 10 years. That's 2018 style with 2008 prices. Come check us out and have a chance to win your dream home makeover. Everything is on sale up to 25% during this grand opening event. Visit us at Furniture Kathy Style in Agana, Instagram, and Facebook.
More than 40 local companies have partnered with Take Care to bring you some of the best deals across the island through the Take Care Affinity Rewards program. From Spa Bali, Guam Reef and Gabriel's Restaurant to Tango Theaters, Dolce Frutti, and many more. Take Care members can simply present their membership cards at our partner locations to receive a special offer or discount. For a complete listing of Take Care's affinity partners and deals, visit TakeCareAsia.com or check out our Take Care app for all the latest updates.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam Delegate Madeline Bordallo has confirmed that war claims settlements will be deducted from Guam's Section 30 funding this year. In a letter to Speaker Benjamin Cruz, Bordallo writes that the Office of Insular Affairs has advised her that the U.S. Treasury will withhold about $6.4 million from the 2019 Section 30 fund payment and deposit that amount into the Guam War Claims Fund from which settlements will be paid. The Foreign Claims Settlement Commission has already begun hearing the roughly 3,500 Guam war claims. The first 33 cases were heard at a meeting held by the commission on August 9th. Lester Carlson, the acting director of the Bureau of Budget Management and Research, told lawmakers during the budget debate that he sent a letter to the Interior Department in early August asking for $78.5 million in Section 30 funding this year. If that amount is approved, the war claims deduction would reduce this year's Section 30 payment to about $72.1 million. However, the Congresswoman advises that the Internal Revenue Service continues to reconcile data used to calculate Guam's Section 30 remittance, and the final amount won't be available until the end of this month. Netcare has sent a letter to the Department of Administration advising Director Edward Byrne that the company will terminate all health insurance coverage for GovGuam employees and retirees when the current contract expires at the end of the fiscal year on September 30th. Netcare Plan Administrator Jerry Crisostomo told the Guam Daily Post that Netcare has received a request from DOA to extend for 3 months as required in the contract, but he said even though they recognize that clause is in the contract, they're terminating because of non-payment of premiums by GovGuam. The decision affects roughly 3,800 members and their families who are covered by Netcare's GovGuam health insurance plans. At the start of this month, Crisostomo said Netcare was owed roughly $1.5 million in unpaid premiums. If the government is somehow able to pay all that past due premiums before the end of the month, then Netcare would have to abide by that 3-month extension, but Crisostomo said he doesn't expect that's going to happen. We'll have more news after this.
Stay clean and connected with Docomo Pacific and mobile. For a limited time, stop by any participating mobile store and get a free chamois when you purchase $10 worth of Docomo Pacific prepaid load. Keep your car looking spotless when you go prepaid. With the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas, you plus Docomo Pacific, better together. Offer valid while supplies last. Some conditions apply.
I've worked with everyone running for governor. I know what they've done and what they haven't. There have been so many missed opportunities to prevent the crises facing Guam. I know Lou would never have allowed GMH to go without resources. She would have closed the revenue loopholes so that the $8.1 billion military buildup generated additional revenue for Guam. She'll make sure our government lives within its means. I'm Carlotta Leon Guerrero, a Republican, and I'm voting for Lou and Josh.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 7 a.m. Some funding has been identified for a full-time administrative director at the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, but CLTC Chairwoman Pika Fearon says the commission needs to approach the legislature for a supplemental appropriation to make that happen. It's one of several initiatives underway since the Barrigada Heights land lease controversy. Fearon says the CLTC also needs the legislature's help with the hundreds of voidable and voided leases which the commission has not yet acted on. The voidable leases can be ratified by the commission, but there's no authority for the commission to address voided leases, according to Attorney General Elizabeth Barrett Anderson. Those leases stemming from improper transfers can be remedied only through legislative action. A tip called into Guam Crime Stoppers about alleged illegal drug activity led to a raid and 2 arrests. Guam Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says officers from the Mandanya Drug Task Force and SWAT executed a search warrant on Friday at a home on Adrian Sanchez Street in Harmon. Officers found crystal meth and cash inside the home. Fernando Cruz Flores and Sandy Marie Duran were arrested after police executed that warrant at the home. They were charged with illegal possession of a Schedule II controlled substance and conspiracy to distribute. Police seized about 5 grams of methamphetamine and an undisclosed amount of cash. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray with weather.
Short forecast today. Moderate to heavy rain all day long is the forecast. You take a look at some satellite imagery and some radar imagery, and you will see exactly why it was easy to come to that conclusion. There's just a whole mess of clouds and rain in the area as a result of Tropical Storm Cimarron passing through the northern Marianas today while strengthening. As the storm moves by, southwesterly monsoon flow will increase, bringing with it heavy rain and associated hazards for Guam. Current forecast calls for 4 to 8 inches of rain with locally higher amounts, and my guess is it's probably still trickling in over at Pirates Cove. We reported 2.8 inches of rain just since beginning of the day.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a break right now, but there is another pretty strong pulse to our northwest. Should be moving through. Probably not this hour, but for the 8 o'clock hour. It looks like between 8 and 9, we're going to get another pretty heavy round of rain move, and this one looks like it's going to get all of us.
All right, there's a couple of alerts that you need to know about. There's a high surf advisory in effect until 6 o'clock Wednesday morning, a high risk of rip currents through 6 o'clock Wednesday as well, and a flash flood watch now in effect through Tuesday evening. So those are the warnings. Please take the appropriate precautions to ensure safety for yourself and your family. 7:13, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
On-site diesel delivery by Morico Equipment. Morico Equipment offers an on-site diesel delivery service right to your door. Diesel is delivered at pump prices. Don't wait for a typhoon to hit. Call Morico at 649-1966 right now. Kohler Power Systems are quiet, reliable, and dependable. With regular service and support from our team, they stay that way. Kohler generator systems are sold and serviced on Guam by Morico Equipment. Yes. Call now 649-1946 or click moricoequipment.com.
I got you. 7:14 in the morning, and just before we get into telling you about getting a Salisbury steak from King's this afternoon, you might want to try to get to King's early this morning. There's already traffic backed up through that area from around St. Anthony School towards the ITC building intersection, like I said, around King's. Maybe that's because everybody's going there for breakfast. I don't know, but it is causing some traffic slowdown. We're watching traffic begin to slow down as well in front of John F. Kennedy High School and the whole Kmart corridors. You make your way through there, intersection of 1 and 16 through 1 and 3 beginning to build up right now, and traffic over by Ukadu and the other schools up around that part of town are beginning to back up and slow down as well. Let me take a quick look. Nothing at Anderson, nothing in front of Navy Hospital. Things beginning to build up in front of Sumai as you're making your way towards Naval Station, but not slowing down. Just a lot of cars in the road. 7:15, that's the news, weather, traffic, and now a reminder to go and eat breakfast at King's or have lunch at King's. Today the big special is Salisbury steak. And I think it's actually cooked by a guy named Salisbury in the kitchen today. So you might want to try that, but a little bit of pride of authorship in the meal that they're preparing for you today for lunch at King's.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
7:15, portions of the Ray Gibson Show proudly brought to you by FHB. That's First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Hey there, it's me, your stomach, down here, you know, the one who can talk. Anyway, I was just at a yoga sesh with a few of the other stomachs, and mid-tree pose, everyone started talking about Subway's new savory rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wrap. It's a mouthful to say, I know, but with creamy Caesar dressing and double the rotisserie-style chicken, it's not the only thing that's full, if you know what I mean. It's me, I'm the one that's full. Because I'm a stomach. That's kind of what I do. Subway, make it what you want. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Portions of the program here also brought to you by my friends over at American President Lines. APL is shipping the future, and MRE, Micronesia Renewable Energy.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out.
What is it that we want to talk about here? You know, I was interested in learning a little bit more about that latest. I don't want to call it the last one because you know it's Monday before the election, and you know how creative people are, right? So I'll refer to it as the latest of the Frank Uggan Kill Death hit pieces, and this one is interesting. I'm gonna play the thing for you in a couple of minutes, and you'll find out why I am so interested in it and why it comes to me. With a note that it is not from the Rodriguez Cruz camp. It's not their ad. That's so make that very, very clear as you're going to play it, and you'll find out again in just a couple of minutes why that is the way it is. So let's take a look at what happened in the markets here. S&P 500 closed in the green on our Saturday, 2,850. The Nasdaq 7816. They're +9. Dow Jones Industrial Average kicked up about 110 points. That's nice to close it. 25,669. Let me see some of the other numbers here. The Nikkei is in the green as well. 22,270. Hang Seng's in the green. Shanghai index is down, as well as the DAX. Take a quick look at what happened in West Texas crude. The benchmark is $65.91, up a little bit from where it was when we stopped looking at it on what day was that going to be? Was that ours on Friday? Yeah. And if you allow me just a second to scooch on my app here and find out where Tapas is. Hold on, it's in there. It's got to get out of there. That one there, Indonesia, Russia, Malaysia. Tapas at $73.55. Now it was $73.90 when we looked at it last. So I'm going to say that that's a good number for Guam as those numbers continue to go down. 7:19 in the morning, and trying to see if there's anything else that's of some kind of an interest financially, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Millennials are sharing streaming passwords, costing companies millions of dollars in revenue. Really now? You're not allowed to do that? I'm not allowed to say, here's my my Netflix password, Mike, use it whenever you like. Isn't that the way it is? Like Hulu. If it detects that somebody, if I'm watching a show on Hulu and my daughter starts watching something on Hulu, like on her phone, one of us gets kicked off, right? Isn't that the way it works? I did think it's the way it's supposed to work. I don't know. 7:19 in the morning, and one of the things that we like to do around this time is to give you a dose of Jerry Roberts. And today, going to be some good Jerry Roberts. Here is the extra point.
Have you got a teenager in the house and they're thinking about getting a part-time job during school? I'm Jerry Roberts, and let's talk about 3 ways for them to make money today on the extra point. When a teenager wants to make spending money, they have a choice. They can hit their parents up for it, or they can do that E thing, earn the money. Let's follow that path. Federal law allows the child to get a job at age 14. This is usually minimum wage work and just a few hours a week to start. But by proving their good work ethic, they can do okay. That's way number 1. And now, way number 2. Would you be surprised to know that if the parents have a business, the child doesn't have to wait until 14 to start working? If you've got a business, even part-time, ask your tax advisor about the benefits of hiring your child to work in your company. If you do, have standards for whatever work you set up for them. Make these standards fit good business practices. Johnny can't sit in the corner on his iPad doing nothing while you pay him minimum wage, because what you're really trying to do is deduct his weekly allowance from your taxes. Assign real work to accomplish and praise your child for doing it well. When they need correction, do that like you would for any other employee. You'll be establishing good quality work habits at a very early age, which will be a huge advantage in the years to come. The final option is the most exciting, but in all honesty, it's not something every child will want to do, nor the path some parents will want their kid to take. That said, for some, it will be a launching pad for lifetime success. Your child will start a business. Now let's think a little. If you have your kid bush cut the yard and they do a pretty good job, how much of a stretch would it be for him or her to knock on doors in your neighborhood seeing if anybody else needs their yard done? Maybe it won't be bush cutting. A lot of people want things straightened up or cleaned and will gladly pay someone to do that. I knew of a kid once who was great at painting rooms. One day a neighbor was visiting his mother and saw him painting a bedroom. She asked him if he'd be willing to paint a couple of rooms for her when he finished. He did so, and was so good at it, he got referred from one person to the next and to the next. He made enough in the following 6 years to put himself through college. Maybe your child is brilliant at one particular subject in school. How many kids are taking that subject and aren't as good? Could your child tutor others? There were endless ideas for starting a spare-time business that could earn a lot more than the minimum wage they'd get in an entry-level job. If your kid is a hustler, then it's at least worth thinking about. So whether it's working for someone else, or for your business, or starting their own, it's never too late to get going on building a great work ethic in your children. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and The Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. Brought back horrifying memories of growing up working with family. I had we had a store. Grandma and Granddaddy had a store. Many of you will remember Mariana Sales, and Shelley and I were expected to lend a hand every once in a while. And the idea was okay, and I would I'd help the guys in the warehouse. I'd help Uncle Joe assemble stoves and little kid bikes and stuff like that. And
you
then
mean it wasn't Gibson's?
No, it wasn't Gibson. And then it'd get to be payday for everybody. And I'd go to Uncle Jim and say, okay, I've worked a few hours here, and can I have some money? Can I get a paycheck? He says, no, it doesn't work like that. You saved us money. You're not actually going to cost us money. And there's a mop over there. So you know what to do with the mop. It did help build the little bit of that work ethic that Jerry was talking about. But I don't know if you can get away with that now. I think that one of the problems that we face anymore is that the minimum wages are so high that if you're going to hire somebody, they need to have experience and they got to have some good work ethic. Or we're not going to put a 16-year-old in charge of something important that hasn't earned that money, hasn't earned that kind of authority that comes with those kind of dollars. A lot of times people talk about minimum wage down in Australia. But in Australia, as an example, they have two minimum wages. There's a minimum wage that applies to just about everybody, and then there's a minimum wage that applies to teenagers. The idea being it has to be economical for the businesses to bring in young people and train them in things like how to appreciate a job, get to work on time, and apply with the standards of the job.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, and so that way the young people can still go in, get some experience, and make a couple of decent dollars. 7:24 in the morning, and that's Jerry Roberts with the Extra Point. You need to do some homework on that. Go to GuamTraining.com on the World Wide Web.
Are you paying too much for power? Do you want to reduce your energy costs and save some money? Then call Micronesia Renewable Energy and get a solar energy system installed on your roof. Whether it's ownership or a zero money down program, there's never been a better time to go solar. Sign up in August and MRE will pay 1 month of your power bill so you can save even more money. Not a homeowner? No problem. Refer homeowners to MRE and get paid $400 cash. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Yep, and the traffic is continuing to build in all of the places where it is expected to build. If you can leave early, well, 7:25, that might not be such a good strategy for you anymore, but traffic beginning to build up around Isangsong in Dededo, and you'll watch traffic northbound and southbound Marine Corps Drive, just like that, right up until you get to about where JFK Kmart is. That'll clear up in a couple of minutes as school finally gets into session. Seeing things up around Ukadu slowing down as well, and let me see if there's anything a little further south, Central Guam, where you might find some other issues. Traffic getting into and out of the Mighty area beginning to build as traffic into Agana starting to build as well. Traffic on Route 4 making your way up to the intersection of 4 and 10. We're seeing a little bit of traffic building through there, but nothing slowing you down. It will begin to slow down in just a little bit, I think, in front of GCC and the University of Guam and GW. 7:26 in the morning. That's what we've got for you right now. Traffic on the point.
You've been waiting, and now it's here. Furniture Kathy Style's grand opening after 12 months of putting together an exciting, delicious, salivating, full-scale, real furniture store that has absolutely everything you need for a beautiful home. Beautiful textures, up-to-date styles, and prices that will blow your mind during our grand opening. Starting now, Furniture Kathy Style throughout the store. Bargains, bargains, bargains. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Furniture Kathy Style in Hagutnya. Open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Bargains, bargains, bargains. I like the way she says that. Kath, still need to come and see you at some point and make arrangements to have some of your new furniture going and collecting it at my place. Where are we now? 888-8255. That's 888-8255. WhatsApp me at 988-5874. Again, 988-5874. And there's lots of WhatsAppable stuff that is out there this morning. In fact, early this morning I got a video on it, and I'm going to play the video for you now with a reservation here, and just an FYI for you. To make sure that you are aware, according to the Rodriguez people, who will figure into the telling of the story here in about the next 45 seconds, this is not a Rodriguez hit piece. This did not come from them, did not come from their people. They've asked me, they said, listen, we are aware that you have the video. If you play it, please make that clear, that this does not originate from the Rodriguez Cruz camp. That being said, this is not the latest and not the last. Well, it is the latest, but maybe not the last of the kill, death hit pieces trying to ruin Frank's campaign. So here it comes. You'll be able to watch the video on Facebook Live and hear the audio on the radio. And play.
You've seen his commercials. Frank Uggan will say anything to get elected. But behind all the political talk lies these stark truths. Guam has seen Frank Uggan in office for over 22 years, and things have gotten worse. Despite what his commercials say, taxes keep rising. Frank voted for his salary increase, only to oppose it when it was politically unpopular. While career politicians like Frank remain in control, people on Guam are losing their jobs, homes, and hope. In a Rodriguez Cruz administration, they will get the economy working again. People are put back to work, and we can all start achieving our dreams again. Rodriguez Cruz, one day is today.
Ooh, you see that? Yeah. The juxtaposition of the video wasn't correct in the first part of it, but I think you got the gist of it, and certainly you got it when you could hear it. Kill, Death, a hit piece against Frank Uggan and Alicia. Wait, is it still going? Okay. And then it starts coming in with a little bit of the Rodriguez logo and some of their campaign phraseology.
Oh, there was a whole lot of Rodriguez there to end that one.
You think.
Yeah.
So if you ask me, there's some crazy stuff floating around out there. Fake news, fake commercials. I think that adds to some of the fake surveys that we've seen floating around, surveys that purport to be true and purport to have been put together by university students out in Texas. Like, why would they need to do that?
Yeah, I saw in a Facebook post that the Rodriguez people were kind of like, this is kind of illegal. Actually, it's not, because the ad did not say that it was from the Rodriguez Cruz campaign.
It's just an easy inference to make, right? If you're not paying any attention to it.
So there was nothing illegal about that ad at all. It's just someone who loves Dennis Rodriguez.
Apparently, or just really hates Frank.
That too.
And like I said, I mean, there's that's not the first. That's just the one that's this Monday's. Last Monday there was another one, and there was a couple. There was one a couple of weeks ago.
Maybe it actually came from someone who's supporting Ray Tenorio.
I don't know. I don't know what the origin could be. I mean, there's a couple of people that are trying to do some forensics and taking a look at the video and the way it's put together, and some of the techniques that the producer is using using, trying to suggest that it might be that they might be coming out of the same house as some other video pieces that are out there floating around.
I'm just glad it wasn't another guy that sounds like me.
There's that interesting thing as well.
Yeah,
there's that. That's what makes this particular piece very interesting. It sounds official because it's got a guy that sounds like he got paid to read that spot.
No, he's a pro.
It's not, sir. I don't think it's anybody from around here. I don't know. Like, might have to play it again. See if we can, locate that sound, find out who it is, and who paid him to do that particular ad. So, where is it coming from? Is the question? Who is on? I'm sure Frank Uggan has got is on a couple of people's enemies list, but in this case, whose is it? And again, I've got it from very, very official word inside the Rodriguez camp that it's interesting, but it did not originate from here. Maybe we'll find out this afternoon when they get together for the Unity Pledge. They're going to have a Unity Pledge signing today at Adelup at the Laddie of Freedom Hall of the Governors, where they're going to get together with the mayors and Democratic mayors and vice mayors to join in on the pledge. And so if I was Frank, I'd be running around, which one of you makes that ad that Ray Gibson played on the radio? Which one of you and I did that to me? He's going to ruin my campaign, guys. 5 days left to go.
Now they'll all be singing Kumbaya.
Yeah, holding hands. Don't worry, Frank. If you lose, we expect you to send all of your supporters into our camp, and we'll graciously accept them. And if you win, I will give you all of my supporters. I will give you my WhatsApp numbers and tell them to go and hang out with you and Alicia. We'll see. We'll see how it plays. 7:32 in the morning, and the time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, it was a weekend of rallies for the candidates competing in this coming Saturday's primary election. Voter registration is at a 12-year high, just over 53,000. Election officials say the higher registration due to the crowded Democratic gubernatorial field for candidates competing to become the Democratic nominee for governor of Guam. Observers also expect a high turnout of perhaps 60% or more, but that's low compared to the 80% and more who turned out to vote back in the 1980s and the 1990s. Guam Election Commission Executive Director Maria Pangilinan reminding voters not to cross over. That means don't vote for a few candidates from one party on one side of the ballot and then flip the ballot over and vote for candidates from the other party. Crossover ballots will not be counted. And remember, when voting for the senatorial candidates, vote for only 15. Another veteran has come forward to claim to have sprayed Agent Orange on Guam back in the 1970s. Retired Master Sergeant Sidney Tackett was stationed on island between 1974 and 79. He told the Guam Daily Post that spraying was conducted up to a year or two before his departure. He said he knew it was Agent Orange by the type of colored band around the 55-gallon drums it was stored in. Tackett said the spraying was done around the fuel storage tanks and fence lines around Anderson Air Force Base, as well as fuel lines throughout the island. Tackett claims comes ahead of the final results from soil tests being conducted by local and federal regulatory agencies and a separate investigation by the Government Accountability Office. The GAO investigation results are anticipated sometime late in the fall. Police investigating an armed robbery at a Harmon game room early last Wednesday morning. The attendant of the Winner Game Room on Route 16 Army Drive in Harmon told police he heard a loud bang in the game room around 4:40 a.m. He told police he noticed an unknown man using a metal object trying to gain access to a gaming machine's money box. Guam Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says that the attendant told police he confronted the suspect but was threatened with that metal object, so he retreated back into the cashier's cage and called police. The man was able to get the money box open and took an undisclosed amount of cash. The man fled in a white sedan traveling south on Route 16. He's described as having a slim build, standing about 5 feet 5 inches tall. He was last seen wearing a camouflage jacket, blue jeans, and a black mask. Anyone with information about the crime asked to call Guam Police at 472-8911. Or those who want to remain anonymous can call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think I will. It's 7:35 in the morning. That's iConnect time. They are the practical choice. Great prices on push to talk, great prices on mobile, even great prices on the internet. Don't spend any more than you absolutely have to. Talk to the people at iConnect. They'll explain why they are the practical choice.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Hafaday, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Hafaday, I'm David Cruz.
Together,
we approve this message.
7:36. Yeah, I'd forgotten that guy. I wonder if he's the one that made the video. I thought he hates Ray. He doesn't hate Frank, does he? Is there a reason for him to hate Frank? Just muddy the waters. Kevin and I are just playing around with names of who it was that could have put that video together. Anyway, 7:36 in the morning, and a quick look at traffic. 8, 10, and 16 beginning to heavy up. Traffic moving towards that intersection from the Totu side, starting to get heavy by the fire station. Also seeing traffic from about the post office to 8, 10, and 16 start to get kind of crazy there as well. Don't see things building up just yet heavy in the Manilao area, but more and more cars are beginning to make that particular route stand out. Also, traffic up and down Route 4 into the Agana area beginning to start to build. Traffic slow now in front of Sumai. Traffic just now going slower in front of Navy Hospital. Traffic moving in and around the Jigo area should be okay, and the intersection of Route 1 and 3 is beginning to slow down and congest as well. Right now, traffic happening at 7:37 on the point.
As a mayor, I see the first-hand struggles our people face. I see the real effects of tax increases and what happens when our government cannot deliver the services timely. I've heard the promises made year after year. I know what it really means when these promises go unfulfilled. Who do you trust to finally get things done right? I'm in with Lou and Josh because they have the experience to lead us and deliver what they promise.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
Audio flying all over the place. It's just crazy fun here. It's the Ray Gibson Show on the point at 7:38, and I wanted to say good morning to a bunch of people that are online right now. Facebook Live. Denise, Lady D is there. Zermaine Alerta, he's a candidate for political office. Andy Tadinko, Frankie Gutierrez, Crystal Schnabel, nice to see you there. Barbie Jane Gomez Agahan. You use all her names. Ramona White Longa, Carl Fukuda, Paul Bloss. I see Teresa Royal Matanani and Lady D saying lots of mud flying over the weekend. ROTFL. That's rolling on the floor laughing. ROTFL, that's what that stands for. And James Howard, when I'm playing the audio and the video, goes boom. There's somebody else saying, ouchie. Carlos Barreto's on. Joey Charfris is there. Vet Ibanez, Huffa Bandit, and everybody else. That's a great way that you can get a hold of me and let me know about what it is that you're thinking about as we ponder some of the big issues that are out there that we're playing around with. And there's another reason why we play around with the big issues and topics is because I need to use them from time to time to make you a winner. I have a 128 gig iPad. Yes, you want it, don't you? No, it's not for me, Raymond. It's for the children. I'm going to get it for my gran. That's whatever. You're going to get it for you. Yes, we're going to Candy Crush. That's what we're going to be doing with this iPad. Yeah, you can have my old one, kid. That's the way this is going to work. It's a brand new 128 gig iPad from Beyond the Box. They're in Tumon, in between. What are they in between? Do you know? Somebody needs to write it down for me because I can never remember what's to the right and to the left. You know, by the ABC store, by the hot dog place, they have hot dogs there. Did you know that? Tourist price hot dogs. Crazy. Nice. But anyway, so Beyond the Box, if you don't win it, you can buy them. They always got a whole new shipment and stock coming in all the time. So you might be wondering, well, what's the news question going to be about today? What's the news quiz question going to be about today? And the answer is, I don't know. It's Monday. I'm moving slower than you would believe here. I might talk fast, but there's a whole process of the show that I'm about 10 minutes behind on, just in my head. So, yeah, well, there's distractions, among them. And maybe I can use this to see if it will help me into a news quiz question. It's not. It probably isn't. The way it was working in my head was I was going to read you the results of our online poll at thepoint.gu. That's our website. And the question is, should Governor Calvo sign the 2019 budget bill passed by the legislature? And your responses are, yes, it funds GovGuam services to the people, or no, it's a kick in the junk to the taxpayers. I thought
Nice vernacular there.
Yeah, do you think so?
That's sweet.
Because that's kind of what it feels like, doesn't it? At least that's how I sense it. It's a kick in the junk to the taxpayers because it provided the members of the legislature to continue on with the hated tax increase and make it look like they were actually working. At least that's the way I view it. Now, Kevin, when does the governor have to sign the bill? The budget bill. I mean, there's a deadline,
Thursday,
right?
But Thursday this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
or it'll lapse.
They've been sending out. It seemed like every day there was something in the budget bill that
finding fault.
Just looking for problems, looking for places in the bill that they could say, see now, as people at the legislature don't love you, and we're the only ones that love you. And if we'd have had the tax anticipation thing, we'd be able to get your tax refunds out to you in time. Yada 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 yada. So that's what they've been doing. But BJ Cruz, you had a chance to talk to Beach Thursday, right?
That's right.
All right, and so this is what I'd like to do. Is this a long interview? Do you remember?
Oh no, it's I think it's just about 2-3 minutes.
Okay, let me see if I can get the thing to play. This is Kevin Kerrigan, who had buddied up with BJ Cruz at the end of the OPA forum that was held at the Rotary Club last week. See if I can get this to play.
In January, stated that they were expecting $78.6 million. We could have just put that in the budget, adopted it as he had sent it down.
What I thought was curious about the release was that Lester was there last Friday evening saying that he was confident these were reliable numbers. 78 million is what we put in and what we're going to get. So 5 days later, it's...
I don't know. I have been FOIAing all their correspondence since March, hoping to find out what they were asking for, what was going to be anticipated. I've got no response. The closest I got was just Friday night when Lester admitted that 2 days before the hits of the letter to Interior that they were expecting 78, and that they had always received whatever it was that they requested. And so we upped it, and we took their projection of 78, or at least his statement. I could have made up the difference by just adopting their projection for income tax, because their income tax was $10 million more than what we projected at the legislature.
So will that be the alternative?
I don't know if we can have an alternative because of the fact that it's already at the governor's office. And so if it comes back, or we can make the change later. The governor's office has received it. And so they have until Monday or Tuesday, the 23rd or the 25th, depending on which version they're accepting.
So, Mr. Speaker, you're not aware that they sent a letter in May to the Interior?
No, because I have sent FOIA since March, asking for all their correspondence, and I've been following it up, trying to get a sense on has Treasury or Interior been saying. I didn't realize that they wrote in March and asked for 68, and then asked for 78 last week. It doesn't make sense. I try not to comment. It's on the governor's desk. He will do what he feels he needs to do.
So it seems a little bit confusing, though. Can the governor sign a bill that everybody knows is short 10 million, or will be short 10 million?
If you look at every budget that has been passed in the last 10 years, the projections for revenue has always been slightly more aggressive, or it's never been on point. Sometimes they've been as much as 50 million over. During my term, we try to keep it down to within 10 or 15 or $20 million. We've been about 2 or 3% off.
So it doesn't have to be perfectly balanced. then.
Well, no, the number that you project should be the number that you appropriate.
Even though
that's-
even though
yeah, it's not so much whether you can't. It's a projection. It's not a guarantee, and so.
Do you think there's still a chance that the letter that Lester sent last week, Wednesday, for $78 million, will still be honored based upon his
I have
expression
no
of
idea.
confidence? It's up to them.
It's up to Interior and it's up to Treasury.
So, Mr. Speaker,
And so neither one of them are talking. I'm going to go ahead and pause that. Speaker B.J. Cruz with a couple of journalists, one including Kevin Kerrigan, just last Thursday talking about the budget and what may or may not happen with it. Does it need to be balanced to the dime? And apparently, according to B.J., no, it doesn't have to be balanced. You know, just whatever you project is whatever it is that you should appropriate. And these are the numbers that we think we're going to get. So this is what we're appropriating. It is based on a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to say loosey-goosey interpretation, but that Hail Mary pass to the Department of Interior asking for $78 million and them coming out and saying, well, probably not. But, you know, they've yet to say absolutely no, right? They just said it's going to be more like 68.
Well, no, it's
and then
it's not going to be 68.
Yeah.
It's just hooey from.
So we'll see. But the governor actually has to sign the measure or let it lapse into law.
Or veto it.
Yeah, or veto. And
three choices.
Still no idea yet what he intends to do with all of that. It's the Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. Hey, you might have noticed that things are getting done. I had the opportunity to drive on Route 8 just in a particular direction. I did this specifically because I wanted to see if I could tell that the roads were being fixed on Route 8. And I tell you what, they've been doing an outstanding job. They've been doing an outstanding job going out there, digging up the speed dimples that we've got on the roads and then filling them in with concrete. Frankly, unless you knew it was there, you'd probably already forgotten all about it. But things are getting done. As my friend Dave Dueña says, of course things are getting done. It's an election year. Right? It's an election year. We're gonna start ratcheting things. You take a look in the newspapers and see how many RFPs that are out there and invitations for bid that are going out all of a sudden. So it leads me to believe that somewhere around here we got money for things like that. And as I said, it's an election year, and as we try to get caught up with Maria Pangilinan, this is going to be a busy week for her and her team over at the Guam Election Commission. Right?
That's correct, sir.
Yep. This ain't your first rodeo. I'm sure you're going to do everything the way it's supposed to be getting done. And everybody now crowing about the significant numbers, 12% increase in the number of registered voters this time around. I'm going to give you credit for that.
Oh, not me.
Yeah, no, because everybody likes you. And they're like, I want to vote in her election. She's a nice lady.
Oh, it's all of us, and I must give a big shout out to the media, our media partners, including Ray Gibson, because that helps a lot.
Well, it's important that we help you get the word out. This is the big deal. This is what's going to provide me, for better or worse, a slate of candidates over at the legislature and some new names in Adelup, and that's the way in Congress and the public auditor's office and the attorney general. So it's important that we help get the word out about registrations and early votings and elections and things like that, so that that everybody has a say. And maybe this time around we'll elect the right guys.
Yes, sir. Every election cycle, we elect the right guys.
Mm-hmm. That's what I meant to say. It didn't come out right. It's Monday. My vocabulary is slow on Mondays.
But Ray Gibson, let me let you know about the results of our efforts. At this time, and it should go. It may go down or up one, depending on how many corrections we have to make. But the record number of registered voters for the primary election of 2018, 54,034.
54,034 record-breaking primary registration numbers.
That's correct.
That's awesome. And did you see where Ron McNinch and what's his name from Netcare say we're going to get 60% primary turnout?
Yes, I heard that from the husband this morning.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. We've had higher numbers back in the day, and I don't know why. It's you still higher turnout, even though we had lower numbers of registered voters, and so I'm kind of hoping that that this record number of registered voters will come out en masse and get that vote in on Saturday.
So the record that we needed to break. After we got into the purging, after we started purging voters, the record number of registered voters at that time was in 2006. Well, in 2006, the voter participation for that primary election was 67%.
Okay, so I mean, it would be considered good numbers, but not the record for Guam. And back in the 80s, we had them up in the high 80s, right?
Oh, yes, I think in 1974 we had it at 90%.
Right, but fewer numbers of registered voters.
Correct.
Okay, so I mean, you see a little bit of slip in the ratio between the number of registered voters that you have and then the number of people that actually come out and turn out to vote. So 54,034. If we get 60% of that, I don't know what that number is going to end up to be, but it is possible that number of voters might actually mirror some of the other numbers that we've seen.
I sure hope so.
Right, so it's the same consistent number of voters, but the ratio of registered voters to actual voters will change from year to year.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on all of that. I noticed that there's an ad that you guys took out in one of the papers this morning with the precinct officials.
Yes.
What's the basis of the requirement for that getting published?
To make sure that everybody's okay with the precinct officials that will be working, I believe that's the intent of the law. So we're required to publish it twice. We published it today, and the next publication date will be Friday.
Okay, and so who are the people that should be looking at that? Certainly the candidates, right? I mean, they look at the precinct officials and say, I don't want that guy to be a precinct official because he stole my benches.
Actually, he or she can still be a precinct official. Let us know if Let us know. Right now, we had to do training on Friday for alternates just in case they call in with emergencies. So we were really busy making sure that we staff all the precincts. That took a lot.
And that's a paid position, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So about how much money can you make? I mean, because that's like a day-long job, right?
Well, yes, and to top it off, you have to come in for training, a 3-hour training. You have to pass a test. You have to be a registered voter, and you should be nominated by a party as well. But if we don't have enough by the time we're setting up, you can walk into the Guam Election Commission and apply, except the ones that come in through the Election Commission are second priority. First priority goes to the parties, and everybody that works the election gets $350.
That's not bad. That ain't a bad day's work.
Especially,
and you get to see everybody in the village because it's like Bank of Guam on payday morning. You'll see everybody.
Yes, and if you're smart, if the precinct officials can count up to 800, and they follow the directions, and they work together, all 5 of them for every precinct. We have 5 precinct officials slotted. They can finish by about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
That's sweet.
The latest.
That's sweet. Now, don't they have to ride the bus with the ballots to the central processing center?
Yes, as soon as the ballots are handed to them at the precinct about 5:30 in the morning, they cannot leave the ballots.
Right.
They're not allowed to leave the polling room except to go to the men's room or the ladies' room, and they have to stay with the ballots all the way until they return the custody back to us.
The chain of custody, I think, is what that's referred to, and it is the biggest responsibility probably that there is. Will they be transported on DPW buses? That I know that there was a practice in the past, and I couldn't think of a more expensive way to move ballots around.
That's the law. and the law is still in the books that the ballots must be transferred in DPW school buses.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So
That's
at
interesting.
4:00 in the morning on Saturday, the front of the Guam Election Commission office here at the GCIC will be lined up with 22 buses.
All right, the 22 buses will take the ballots out into the districts where they'll be handed off to the precinct officials. Precinct officials will maintain custody of those until they're put back on the buses and driven to Manila, right?
And all that time, the Guam police officer is escorting the ballots.
This is another reason why we need to make the primary a party responsibility as opposed to a taxpayer obligation. Like I can just watch money flying out of the government of Guam coffers. It's practically every answer to every question is more money flying out the window. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got listeners that have been complaining for the last several days about the power outages and that kind of thing. Obviously, we've got some lousy weather in the area, and that's causing some pressure on the GPA systems. There was a power outage in Tumon this morning, and Lady D saying that she had weekend power outages up in Jigo going on. And so how have you hardened, how are they hardening the University of Guam field house, I guess is where this is going to be all done. How are they hardening that so that the power does not go down in the counting?
Well, we partner up with Guam Power Authority as well.
Yeah.
And so the rapid response team, I have to give a big shout out to Mr. Aquino from the Guam Power Authority. He's my contact. So as soon as we head on out on Saturday evening, election night, to the university, he's the person I call, and he makes sure that there's a standby crew at the university and at a couple of other parts of the island, so that if the power goes out or there's a power fluctuation, he's there to handle it. At the university itself, we do get a backup generator for the machines themselves. So the machines, the three tabulators are plugged into an UPS, and the UPS are we have the backup generator for the three.
Okay, so I wasn't really worried about that. I'm mostly worried about what happens when the lights go out. And there's conspiracy theories that go back, dozens of elections where the lights go out, and then mysteriously there's additional ballots that are fed into the machines that weren't there before. Or you remember a couple of years ago, is that some lady had seen she saw a bunch of ballots being counted from a red cooler. There's all kinds of shenanigans that can take place while the lights are off in the field house.
Yeah, the custody of transfer is pretty tight, and so what our voters need to worry about is how many get to the precincts and how many come back from the precincts.
Sure.
Yes, so that happens up at the University of Guam in Reconciliation. So there's 5 stations at the University of Guam, and where the precinct officials spend the longest time is in Reconciliation.
Right.
After the ballot boxes are open and they start counting the cast ballots.
And you wouldn't happen to have, I know one of the other things that you want to try to get across as often as possible this week is don't spoil your ballots. Vote down one side. If you pick one Republican, you've got to vote all the rest Republican. If you pick a Democrat, then you've got to vote all of the rest Democrat. Do not cross over in the primary election. You're only allowed to use that in the general election. What's the percentage of spoiled ballots as a result of crossing over?
We want to get lower. Let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah.
And we do have the numbers. And, at one time, I believe there was a couple thousand, and we don't want to do that anymore. And so we're... let me get it for you. And it's gone down over the election cycles. It's gone down quite a bit. I think the last time I took a look at it, it was like 600 maybe, and before that, when I first came in, I was appalled at a number as high as 2,000.
Right. That's where I was ballparking in my head around 2,400. Glad to hear that those numbers are going down, and we'll try to get that word out as much as possible between here and there. As usual, appreciate your information on what's happening with the Guam Election Commission. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Maria Pangilinan.
Thank you very much, Ray Gibson.
Have a great day. 888-8255. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnia. 93.3 is The Point.
Fighting to keep security clearances. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. Former CIA Director John Brennan weighing legal options to stop President Trump from revoking security clearances of other current and former officials.
I am going to do whatever I can personally to try to prevent these abuses in the future. And if it means going to court, I will do that.
The president yanking Brennan's clearance last week.
If you cross him, if you speak out against him, he is going to use whatever tools he might have at his disposal to punish you.
Brennan on NBC's Meet the Press. President Trump tweeting White House lawyer Don McGahn is not a rat. This after the New York Times reported McGahn has cooperated extensively in the Russia investigation.
McGahn reportedly spent hours talking to special counsel Robert Mueller, but the president maintains he has nothing to hide. On NBC's Meet the Press, the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, says the White House encouraged staffers to cooperate, and his client
is quite secure that there is nothing in the testimony that will hurt the president. And John Dowd told you that when he said he was a strong witness for the president.
As far as the president saying the New York Times thinks McGahn is a John Dean-type rat, Dean, a former Nixon counsel, tweeted he doubts the White House has any idea what McGahn said. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The Bishop of Pittsburgh's Roman Catholic Diocese resisting calls to resign following a grand jury report of widespread child sexual abuse by priests in Pennsylvania over 7 decades.
We have to be able to continue to look at the things that we have done to really correct this issue. The Church of Pittsburgh today is not the church that's described in the grand jury report.
Bishop David Zubik on ABC's This Week. Jury deliberations resume tomorrow in the trial of former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort. The fraud charges against him stem from the Russia investigation, but have nothing to do with possible collusion between the campaign and Russia. Fox News, fair and balanced.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Hafa-day, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Hafa-day, I'm David Cruz.
Together,
we approve this message.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet summer deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra this summer with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit gta.net for more details.
Floods in a southern India state killing at least 370 people and displacing about 800,000.
The old and young, all weary after being trapped for days as the worst floods have hit Kerala in a century. With food and clean drinking water running short, the situation became desperate.
3 days we are on the rooftop. They have no food, nothing. So these people came with boat and they give some food and all. That's why we are here.
The flood waters are meters high, and the only way to move around are boats.
Sky News correspondent Neva Lazarus in Chenganur. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying the U.S. is ready to facilitate direct peace talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban. Pompeo also urging the group to accept a proposed ceasefire for the next few days in observance of a Muslim holiday. No official response yet from the Taliban on either issue. A dozen concertgoers remain hospitalized following an accident before a Backstreet Boys show.
Severe weather in Oklahoma sends 14 fans to the hospital after a concrete structure collapses on them. WinStar World Casino and Resort says about 150 people in line did not heed staff warnings to evacuate. The Backstreet Boys telling fans the most important thing is for everyone to get home safely. They plan to reschedule the concert with 98 Degrees. Ann Carrick, Fox News.
Comedian Andy Gross brought the laughs and outrage to Purdue University when performing at a student orientation. Some students walking out and accused Gross of harassing a female student he brought on stage to assist with part of his routine. No comment yet get from Gross or his representative, school officials saying parts of the performance were clearly inappropriate. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
As a mayor, I see the first-hand struggles our people face. I see the real effects of tax increases and what happens when our government cannot deliver the services timely. I've heard the promises made year after year. I know what it really means when these promises go unfulfilled. Who do you trust to finally get things done right? I'm in with Lou and Josh because they have the experience to lead us and deliver what they promise.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio, Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card. And upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
Howdy, folks! Just when you thought our famous KFC Crispy Strips couldn't get any better, introducing the new KFC Fold-Its. KFC Crispy Strips on a soft flatbread sandwich with lettuce and tomatoes. And all for $5 with fries. $5? Woo! Yes, $5 Fold-Its, and it comes with your favorite KFC fries. KFC Fold-Its for limited time only. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
$7 meal from Circle K. Get your choice of 2 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs or a half-pound Nathan's all-beef footlong, a big wrap bag of chips, and any size Polar Pop. That's a giant deal of a meal, all for only $7. Circle K. Take it easy.
Hafa and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Another veteran has come forward claiming to have sprayed Agent Orange on Guam back in the 1970s. Retired Master Sergeant Sidney Tackett was stationed on island between 1974 and 1979. He told the Guam Daily Post that the spraying was conducted up to a year or 2 before his departure. He said he knew it was Agent Orange by the type of colored band around the 55-gallon drums it was stored in. Tackett said the spraying was done around fuel storage tanks, fuel lines around Anderson Air Force Base, the weapons storage area, as well as fuel lines across the island. Final soil testing results to determine the presence of Agent Orange have yet to be released. Local and federal regulatory agencies are conducting those tests. A separate investigation by the Government Accountability Office is also pending. Soil testing began earlier this year, but the initial results were inconclusive, and additional testing is scheduled for September. The GAO investigation results are anticipated sometime later in the year. Guam Delegate Madeline Bordallo has confirmed that war claim settlements will be deducted from Guam's Section 30 funding this year. In a letter to Speaker Benjamin Cruz, Bordallo writes that the Office of Insular Affairs has advised her that the U.S. Treasury will withhold about $6.4 million from the 2019 Section 30 fund payment and deposit that amount into the Guam War Claims Fund, from which settlements will be paid. The Foreign Claims Settlement Commission has begun hearing the roughly 3,500 Guam war claims. The first 33 cases were heard at a meeting held by the commission in August, early this month. BBMR Acting Director Lester Carlson telling lawmakers during the budget debate that he sent a letter to Interior on August 8th asking for $78.5 million in Section 30 funds this year. If that amount is approved, the war claims deduction would reduce this year's Section 30 to about $72.1 million. However, Bordallo says the IRS continues to calculate Guam's Section 30 remittance for the year. The final amount won't be available until the end of this month. More news after this.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco, 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Security Title is honored to join and sponsor Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. A former Department of Corrections officer who's awaiting sentencing after admitting guilt in the prison contraband conspiracy case has been arrested again on allegations of family violence. 34-year-old Furman Lizama Meritita arrested Friday on allegations of aggravated assault, family violence, and disorderly conduct. Meritita was among several corrections officers, maximum security inmates, and civilians who were charged last year in connection with the smuggling of drugs, cell phones, and other contraband into the Manilao prison. Meritita has already signed a plea deal. He's expected to testify at the trial against the others before he is sentenced. Some funding has been identified for a full-time administrative director at the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, but CLTC chairwoman Pica Feoron says the commission needs to ask the legislature for a supplemental appropriation first. It's one of several initiatives underway since the Barragata Heights land lease controversy. Feoron says the CLTC also needs the legislature's help with the hundreds of voidable and voided leases, which the commission has not yet been able to act on. The voidable leases can be ratified by the commission, but there is no authority to address the voided leases, according to AG Elizabeth Barrett Anderson. Those leases, stemming from improper transfers, can only be remedied through legislative action. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Right now with the weather, if you can find it.
No, I got it. They're throwing it back at the legislature. This is going to become a legislative issue now. How is the legislature supposed to handle it? Are they just going to?
They have to approve. Yeah.
Give the CLTC the authority to do it, or would they be the ones that would void the voided leases or the voidable leases?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because they're not going to want to do anything like that around an election year, right? Who wants to be the guy at the legislature?
Wait until after
Who wants to be
November?
the guy at the legislature who wants to void Robert Celestial's lease, right? Nobody's going to want that. Moderate to heavy rainfall all day long. That's what the weather forecast is. A high surf advisory in effect until 6 o'clock Wednesday. High risk of rip currents through 6 o'clock Wednesday morning, and a flash flood watch now in effect through tomorrow night. And take a look at the internet here. And actually, before we go to the radar, I want to show you a picture, a video that was sent to me on the radio station WhatsApp, which is 988-5874, 988-5874. You may have already seen this on your WhatsApp. It's gone viral, but this is a recent video shot in Malessa. So let me turn that on and then play this over here. Don't play any audio. I don't know if it's clean. But there's a car, and that's not a river. That's a road.
Yeah. If you've got high water, friends, just turn around. You just, sometimes sometimes you don't. And once the water gets up over about halfway through the wheels, it starts to get into the car systems, and you just are not going to do well that way.
Yep.
Also had a caller call in.
Folks
are driving around without their headlights on. So if you're listening to this show, please turn on your headlights if you're out there driving. It just makes it safer for everybody.
Wow. Well, a crazy video that we're looking at. I'm going to switch from that now to the radar imagery. I just updated this. I'm looking at the latest of the radar maps, and are showing. Looks like we might have a little bit of a break here, but my guess is at 10, 11 o'clock this morning, we ought to watch a whole nother packet of snotty weather coming
Actually,
through.
it's going to come in a little sooner than that. As you can see up to our northwest, a pretty big band of rain. And if you look very closely, right there by the arrow, you can see a little bit of rotation. This is called a microvortex, and it happens quite often in these tropical systems, especially on these these monsoon surges here. And you can see a lot of oranges and very darker colors there, meaning much more heavy rain, probably thunderstorms. What's happening here is you're getting a little bit of rotation in the clouds, in the flow. It's creating more convergence, which is also lending to more lift, making for stronger storms, heavier rain, heavier winds when this moves through later, and it's probably going to be sometime in the next hour or so.
Interesting.
You can expect very heavy rains. The winds are going to really pick up. It's almost going to seem like a storm as it comes through, because it kind of is. It's a micro vortex.
Yeah.
And if it holds together, it could peter out before it gets here. Here's a satellite look at Cimarron, which is a Philippine word for a wild ox, by the way. And it's still trying to move off to the northeast. Looks like it's getting some wind shear, because you can see the top left portion of it kind of flattening out, like it's hitting a wall. And that is what's happening, although that's going to relax. The system's going to continue to strengthen as it passes north. And our weather will not start to improve until it gets out of the Marianas. So just expect
how
this to
will it
continue.
interact with that other system? I'm going to scooch this up a little bit more. So we've got two rotators in roughly the same 1,000 miles or so of open ocean. This thing is Cimarron is moving over the north of the Mariana Islands. It should be through with that today. But at any time, will it interact with that other system that's up there that looks like it's quasi-stationary?
Yeah, that's 22W Salik. It's kind of wobbling around right now. It's actually taking a pretty big hit. It's got some dry air intrusion, and it's moving over cooler water because of all these storms that have just repeatedly gone over that area. They will not interact. Salik is actually going to take off and hit Japan, and then Cimarron is going to follow in its footsteps in about 4 or 5 days.
8:16 in the morning. That's why we got this guy around, because he can interpret the maps and save us a phone call to the National Weather Service most of the time. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Sizzling hot, that's what our special summer loan is, with rates as low as 4% and amounts up to $50,000. You can use your money for whatever you want, like back to school expenses, tuition, travel, or paying down expensive credit cards. A sizzling hot special summer loan with great rates as low as 4% at Bank Pacific today.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Eco Credit Opportunity Lender. Conditions apply. As low as 4% APR.
James Howard reporting heavy rains in Jigo right now, and maybe go out there with your camera phone and see if you can take some stunning imagery out there of guys pushing cars through flooded roadways, and then send that to us at 988-5874. That's the radio station WhatsApp here. 8:17. Lunch going to be waiting on you at King's today, and every day of the week they've got some fantastic, great daily lunch specials. Today happens to be Salisbury steak. I can already taste it. I already know what this tastes like, and I know it's going to be good, and you better believe it's going to be good. So if you don't have plans for lunch, or better yet, if you do have plans, break them and go to King's.
Stay clean and connected with Docomo Pacific and mobile. For a limited time, stop by any participating mobile store and get a free chamois when you purchase $10 worth of Docomo Pacific prepaid load. Keep your car looking spotless when you go prepaid with the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. You plus Docomo Pacific, better together. Offer valid while supplies last. Some conditions apply.
Security Title brings you the program providing solutions for complex real estate transactions.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Wouldn't it be great to win a new car? Yes. Wouldn't it be great to win a new 2019 Lexus ES 350? Yes, it would be wonderful to win that. And you can do it and support the Red Cross at the same time. Go see anybody at Atkins Kroll and get your raffle tickets now. The drawing is September 22nd, and you need not be present to win.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
How old is this poll here? 7 hours old from the Guam Daily Post. Who among the Democratic gubernatorial teams would you vote for in the primary election? In first place, Leon Guerrero, followed by Gutierrez Berdallo, Ugg and Lim Tiaco in third, and in fourth place, Dennis Rodriguez. And if you have not yet seen the latest Kill, Kill, Death, Frank Uggan hit piece, keep watching the program, keep listening to the program. I'm going to play that for you a little bit later on. In the meantime, it's nice to go around the horn and say good morning to everybody. Got Mike Knight. Gets the phone when you call it 888-8255. Kevin Kerrigan. That's the amazing Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. Got another look at headlines coming up at the bottom of the hour. And then, because it's the 8 o'clock hour, and I think people have been doing sports in the 8 o'clock hour since Jesus was doing overnights, Blake Watson is here.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
It was good.
You know, you think Jesus, this is a question I've always wondered.
What's that?
You know, like us mere mortals, right? You think Jesus ever had like an irritated stomach, you know? Like, you think he ever had stomach problems?
Oh, gurgling?
Yeah.
Think there might have been some holy gurgling at some point?
Yeah, you think Jesus ever had, like, you know, like any, like an upset tummy?
Word made flesh is what Sister taught me. and
just wondering about that. You know, for lack of going way too, everybody knows what I'm saying, but I just wonder, you know, you get a little, you know, things get a little liquidy in your stomach. I wonder if that ever happened to Jesus back in the day.
This is not something that we're going to spend a lot of time on today, right?
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good.
I don't have an answer or anything.
Okay, good.
Just scatter shooting in my brain this morning. And
so you know what I did first time in my life? I went on a hash.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you drink out? Oh, can you talk about them?
No.
Oh.
But I'm just telling you. I had a great time.
Did you?
Time of my life.
Did you meet Tarzan and Sunchild and Tree Stump?
Names I can't even say because most of the people I had there was a word in their hash name that I couldn't I can't say.
And I don't know. I just made all those names up, by the way.
Just a good time. I want to thank letting me go and doing that. That was nice. It involved. I will tell you the scary part. Towards the end of it, there was it. And there were a couple of really tricky technical parts, but I managed to make it through. And then towards the end of it, you had to swim across the Inarajan Bay.
Ooh. So you're on one of those.
Have you seen the ocean lately?
One of those trails. No, yeah. I saw it over the weekend. If that's any indication.
But I think it would have really been funny if you'd opened this up with saying, hey, I want to really thank the Hash people for inviting me this weekend.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, do you think you could ever see yourself being one of the Trailblazers? I know they have different names in that.
No, you're not supposed to set fires up.
But I'm saying no. But I mean,
I'm
talking about the one who sets the trail. You know, could you ever be that? Could you ever be the pioneer, the one to clear the brush and
no, I don't think I.
You just like to follow the trail.
I just heard there would be beer, and so that's why I went. Anyway, 8:22 in the morning. But that was just anybody knows me knows I'm not. I can swim, not a strong swimmer, and I got into the water and it's not this big massive distance. It's not like a mile between places, but still it's probably more than I swam yesterday, day before, than I put any of that kind of time in the water, like since I stopped going to swim class at USO when I was 9. Wow, that's a long way to go. And how many strokes do I know? Just the one.
And I don't have my floaties.
No, I didn't have the floaties. It was weird and wonderful at the same time. Anyway, so that was a good time. And then there was something else that I saw a little bit of yesterday, and there's a Frisbee thing going on at Jimmy D's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is that?
Gaji, my friend. Yeah. Is she the only one? I think she is that I know of. But yeah, she hangs out there and does Frisbee a few times a week.
Really?
Yeah, during the week. I know that's how she gets a lot of her. I mean, she's a very fit person anyway, plays soccer and all kinds of stuff. But I do know that, like, in the last few months, she was telling me she has made it a point to really get out there for her cardio and do Frisbee. That's how she does it during the week, or that's how she did prior to the rainy season.
Yeah, so it's coming down, cats and dogs literally storming at the beach, and they're still out there playing Frisbee.
Oh, that's the best time to do it. You know, I was out there about a couple of months ago and ran into them on a Friday night. There were a bunch of them out there, and there was a young man who was having trouble throwing a Frisbee. Man, I go way back throwing Frisbee, underhand, overhand, whatever.
You got to pop the wrist.
So, yeah. So I went out there and I was trying to show him, and he wanted to try to throw it, forward sidearm. And I was like, all right, you got to kind of take it. I said, have you ever played baseball? No, I've never played baseball.
Really?
I was stunned. I've never met a young man of his age that had never played baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, maybe
he had to be in his
20s. Not today's sport, but
That's true.
But my point is this must be just addictive. Because, like I said, it was coming down hard. Yeah. You couldn't see across East Agania Bay.
Yeah, it's fun.
And
they're still throwing it.
Yeah, these guys are out there like it's the last day of summer, right? This is it, man. This is it. We got to milk it for everything it's worth. And so I enjoy that. Helps make the beer go down faster when you've got something to watch. 8:24 in the morning, time for Sports with Blake. Anytime.
All right. Well, I got a few things. One of them I for sure want to get to, but that's more fun for later. This one is hard-hitting news. As for the second straight year, the St. John Lady Knights will enter the IIAG Guam girls volleyball season as preseason champs. They won the 19th annual Shea preseason high school girls volleyball tournament over the weekend at their own home gym. The Dale J. Jenkins Gymnasium in Upper Tumon was the stage, and the Lady Knights dropped a powerful victory over the GW High School Lady Geckos. They did it in 3 sets, 20-25, 25-20, 15-10. They had to come back from behind after they split the first 2 sets in the third, and they did so. And like I said, they are yet again 2-time preseason champs headed into the regular season, which starts, Ray, this week. Girls volleyball will kick off the first game of the season. It's going to happen, let's see here, tomorrow night at ND down south, as the Lady Geckos will travel down there. And then they will pick up action again, JFK at St. Paul, that game Friday. So that's how the girls volleyball week is looking for the very first week of play officially here in the IIAG world.
Got to be some crazy wet conditions over at the Guerrero Field.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's just no baseball happening.
No baseball. Did you see over the weekend? I think it was right.
I know they were trying. They were even considering it, but I don't think anybody covered the grass.
I think Friday they did get to play on, didn't they? Yeah. Friday they were able to hit for one elusive game, as the weather has pretty much dampened it the last couple weeks. But the Orioles and the Astros wrapped up game 1. The Orioles win 6-4, and that's a best-of-5 series. And this is really tough too, because it's supposed to be a best-of-5 series. Yet this is just game 1. And there's still 4 more games to play whenever the weather lets us. So it's a very interesting 5-game series, as it's really only supposed to last about a week or so.
Yep.
But this one's going to last a couple, as the first round of the GML playoffs still trying to get all the other games off the ground. Just 1 played out of 2. And then, again, it's best-of-5 series. So it could be a long postseason.
Yeah, good chance. They won't be playing any more games on that field until this weekend.
The guy said we should be out of the wet and rainy by about Wednesday, so maybe a couple of days of sunshine, dry that thing out, and we'll be able to get the guys back out there. You said you had the IIAG schedule.
I do. I have it for this first week. This is what I got. I got, I'll repeat it, girls volleyball tomorrow, GWND Wednesday. Nothing. Thursday, cross country, JFK taking on Ukadu. That is at the Ukadu Trail. Girls volleyball on Friday. JFK will challenge St. Paul at St. Paul. Friday night football, GW taking on FD, kicking off the season with the rivalry game. That's at 7 p.m. And then Sanchez will take on Ukadu at Ukadu, just across the yard there up north, 7 p.m. as well. Saturday, JFK will take on Southern. That is a Saturday morning 10 a.m. game down south. And then Saturday night volleyball, ND taking on Academy at Academy in Agania. And Tiedzen will challenge Guam High for some Saturday night football, as both those teams will see their first game. Tiedzen, Guam High, 7 p.m. up on the hill. I believe that game is at Guam High.
Has Mrs. Sports, speaking of high school and back to school and all of that stuff, has Mrs. Sports talked about the food in school yet?
Mrs. Sports?
Yeah.
Who?
Your wife.
Oh, no. Has she? No, she doesn't. You know what, actually, it's interesting. She teaches down at JP, and I don't know. She's never, and I know they have a lunchroom, and I know they probably serve food down there, but she's never really talked about food. I think she splits for lunch to go to Pops's Chicken or somewhere down in the Agate. There's only 3 or 4 places down there you can go, because everywhere else is too far of a drive.
There's a Subway, I think.
Subway. Yeah, I think there's a Thai place down there. Yep. Yeah, some kind of fusion, but no, not at the school itself. No.
So, okay, could you ask her? I'm kind of curious about it. The school's been back in session for about a week, and I'm not hearing anybody complaining about food. Usually in the first week, we'll start to get viral pictures of the quality of the food that they're serving in the schools. Well, it's free, but it's free. But people are still going to complain about it if it doesn't look good, if it doesn't taste good, right?
Yeah, little known fact about me. I worked for Sodexo for quite some time. I was a supervisor of lunch ladies. Also a lunch lady myself.
Get out of here!
Yeah, I worked at LBJ, JFK, and MU Lujan for about a year and a half. So a school year and a half, and also some summer school. I I was on the line serving the tray food, and then I had to clean it up.
I mean, was there any? Did you ever have a favorite school lunch? I mean, most kids going to school, you just got to deal with whatever it is that they give you, and you're either going to love it or hate it. But there's usually, even in the worst cases, at least one day that you would look forward to because the food on that one day was good. Do you remember what yours was?
Yeah, they actually had Sodexo at the time, maybe a couple of years ago, 2013, something like that, 14. They had. Well, this is kind of a secret, but you know how everybody loses their mind over the McRib?
Yeah.
So Sodexo has one. They don't slather it in barbecue sauce, but it's the same rib-shaped patty. You can bite all the way through it. Like, it looks like it has bones in it, but you can bite all the way through it.
Nice.
Put it on a hoagie, and then, being a lunch lady on the side, I get special treatment. So I got, like, some mustard on the side, a little
so
ketchup.
you'd be able to dress it up the way you like.
I can dress it up, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Kevin,
so that's what they have.
You remember your school lunches? Did you ever have a favorite?
Spaghetti and meatballs.
That was
my
good.
favorite.
Yeah. Do you remember what day they served it?
Thursday.
Spaghetti and meatballs day. And that's what we love. What about you?
Tuesdays, steakette and mashed potato day. I would hit the door as soon as the bell rang. I would run down now to the cafeteria. I would be like one of the first 5 guys in line. I would get my plate of double mashed potatoes with gravy and the steakettes. I would eat that in about 5 minutes and get back in line and get a second serving.
Oh, nice. They let you do that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I was playing sports and stuff back then, so I kind of needed the food.
Yeah. So at Father Duenas, we had and I don't remember what day it was, and I actually remember enjoying it very much, but they served this like it was a curry. And this is Father Duenas, in the olden days, it was a poor school, and we weren't spending a lot of money on trays and stuff like that. So they'd give you a paper plate, one paper plate, and they'd kind of layer this stuff on there, this curry stuff, which is just curry is just the word that it wasn't actually curry. It was something like, it was a curry-like substance, but it was one of those things that you had to eat fast. It actually tasted pretty good in my mind. It tasted pretty good, but you had to eat it fast, not because it tasted pretty good, was because it was going to go right through the paper plate.
It's just going to bleed through.
Yeah, and you'd eventually be wearing it. So the faster you ate it, the better off you were for all of that. That was some nice memories there of school lunch. 8:31. Listen, I'm going to let you get back to the other radio station.
I wanted to send a congratulations to a mutual friend. Pro triathlete got married over the weekend. Manami Ijima, married cycling champion John Martin. They were married by Senator Regine Bisco-Lee over the weekend. I saw that on social media. So congrats to the newlyweds who got married on Saturday at the legislature. And there's cool pictures all over social media. I saw it on GSPN, but Manami, and she even, and this is funny, she said like a true, in one of her posts, like a true triathlete wedding, they were both wearing their Garmins in their picture.
The Garmin watch, right?
So they're dressed up as the bride and groom, but they still got on their Garmin watches.
You never know when you might need to race something. Now, say happy birthday to Helen Jose and Elfie Koshiba over at Guam International Airport. It's 8:32, and congratulations, Manami. That's enough out of you. Blake Watson's going to go back over to Star 101. We've got headlines and traffic coming up with Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
Yeah, I got a new profile pickup as well. 888-8255. It's 8:33 in the morning. This is the Ray Gibson Show, and we do have some of those numbers that I was asking Maria Pangilinan about over at the Guam Election Commission and spoilage of ballots and things like that going over the years, and I'll share those with you in just a little bit. But first, we got to find out what the big stories are from the Guam Daily Post, and brought to you by Furniture Kathy Style. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. It was a weekend of rallies for the candidates competing in this coming Saturday's primary election. Voter registration at a 12-year high, just over 54,000 now. Election officials say the higher registration due to the crowded Democratic gubernatorial field for candidates competing to become the Democratic nominee for governor. Observers also expect a high turnout of perhaps 60% or more this Saturday. However, that's low compared to the 80% and more who turned out to vote back in the 1980s and the 1990s. Guam Election Commission Executive Director Maria Pangilinan urging voters not to cross over. That means don't vote for a few candidates from one party on one side of the ballot and then flip it over and vote for some other candidates from the other party. Crossover ballots will not be counted. And remember, when voting for the senatorial candidates, vote for just 15. A Dededo man has been charged with vehicular homicide and driving under the influence in connection with the death of 22-year-old Winona Nirachasao last year. 22-year-old Arthur Paul Juanilo was the driver of a pickup that crashed on Route 15 in Jigo. Police say Juanilo was driving at 72 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. His pickup crashed into a metal sign that was labeled "Curve Ahead." Nirachasao was a passenger. She was thrown from the truck, later pronounced dead at GRMC. Juanilo was arrested Thursday. The crash occurred in November of last year. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau explained that some traffic investigations take more time because when serious charges are filed, investigators have to make sure that all the calculations and all the data are accurate. A tip called into Guam Crime Stoppers led to a raid and 2 arrests at a home on Adrian Sanchez Street in Harmon on Friday. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau says officers from the Mandanya Drug Task Force and SWAT executed a search warrant at the home. 59-year-old Fernando Cruz Flores and 33-year-old Sandy Marie Duran were arrested. They've been charged with illegal possession and conspiracy, among other allegations. Police seized about 5 grams of methamphetamine and an undisclosed amount of cash. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
All right, Kev. Now, before I let you go, 2012, the number of spoiled ballots in that primary election, 2,369.
Pretty bad, huh?
Yeah, that's 11%. Can you imagine? 11% of the votes that were cast in that primary election were thrown out.
But as we've heard, it's gotten much better.
2014, only 838 spoiled ballots, and in 2016, 1,461. So it was really bad, and then it got really good, and now it's kind of trending its way back up. Obviously, they're looking to get smaller numbers of spoiled ballots for that particular reason. So just remember, if you pick one Democrat on that side of the ballot, then you've got to vote all Democrat. You pick a Republican on the other side of the ballot, then you got to vote for all Republicans. You cannot vote for Madeline and then flip the thing over and then vote for Ray.
Exactly.
If you do that, that ballot will be spoiled. And frankly, if you're that dumb, then I don't want your vote. It's for the culling of the herd, if you will. 8:37 in the morning, and that was news brought to you by Furniture Kathy Style.
Join Kathy and her team at Furniture Kathy Style for their grand opening this week. Their store is packed with fabulous furniture from brand names like Ashley, Klausner, Violino Leathers, and more, with prices that would blow your mind. Huge discounts throughout the store, such as their 4-piece bedroom set from Holland House, starting at $5.99. If you're looking for quality, style, and affordable furniture, come into Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña, open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
8:38 is the time, and that's the time from my friends over at iConnect, and they want you to know that they are the practical choice. What do they mean by practicality? It's efficient use of the dollar, if you will. If you got a dollar that you want to spend on telecommunications, whether it's push-to-talk or whether it's the internet or just mobile plans, you're going to want to spend it with them because it will go literally much further with iConnect, the practical choice.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
It's time for Wendy's Break, my favorite part of the show where I get to talk about among my favorite meals that they have over at Wendy's. I like everything on the menu. I really do. Most of the time, though, I'll sneak in there and get myself a salad. And the guy says, "Oh, that's nice. Yeah, salad. Yeah. Can I get you anything else? Yeah, give me a burger on the side." It's still Wendy's, right? You still want the hot and juicy. But anyway, the new thing that they've got is the Berry Burst Chicken Salad, hand-chopped lettuce with fresh strawberries, juicy blueberries, crumbly feta cheese, sea-salted toasted almonds, and freshly grilled chicken. Or you can change that and make it a spicy, crispy chicken. They'll do that for you, even if you're not Ray Gibson. Summer berries are in season now at Wendy's. Now that's better.
You know what we say here about that.
Oh, no. Going to do it again?
It's very good.
Doing.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Half a day, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Half a day, I'm David Cruz.
Together,
we approve this message.
Wait, you know, Mark Mandiola from the Ed Board just sent me the calendar. So I've got the meals that the kids are going to be able to eat this morning. I'm assuming that's breakfast, right? Because it's waffles. Okay, breakfast pizza is in there. That's one of them. You know, anything pizza. Can I just say, while I'm talking about, I'm very upset about somebody on Facebook, and they said this is the correct way to eat pineapple pizza. Or pizza with pineapple on it.
Okay.
And then they take it, they take it out of the box, take the little plastic thing off the center of it, and then slide it into the trash.
Oh man,
right?
That's a waste of a perfectly good pizza.
And because they don't like it because it's, I don't know, there's some purist, a pizza purist out there that says that the pineapple shouldn't be a topping for the pizza.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Hawaiian, but pineapple on pizza is just fine.
Right? That's what I keep trying to explain it to everybody. But I think wars can be started that way.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's some people that just will not abide by putting pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
Ask me, it makes everything taste better. I don't know. 20 away from. Which one am I supposed to do? Oh, these guys. Portions of the program brought to you by Micronesia Renewable Energy and American President Lines APL is shipping the future.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Hey, they got those wraps waiting for you at Subway. Have you had one of the? Because everybody's got a favorite sandwich at Subway. Everybody's got something that's their go-to deal when you get in. Next time you go to Subway, though, tell them that you want that same sandwich, though, but not on the sandwich bread. Tell them you want it in a wrap, and the guy will give you a knowing wink. He's going to say, "Oh yeah, this guy knows what's going on. This guy knows how to eat." It's the new way to enjoy your Subway sandwiches. Filling, delicious, loaded with meat, packed with flavors. Get your today at Subway. Make it what you want.
Half a day. This is Jerry Gutierrez. Many remember how committed Carl has been to helping our people during times of hardship, disaster, and financial crisis throughout his years of public service. For Carl, it has always been about people helping people. He would like this opportunity to work on your behalf once again as your governor. I humbly ask for your vote for the Gutierrez-Bordallo team on August 25th. Together, let's make Guam again.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Team Sunshine 2018, Roy P. Duenas, Treasurer.
It ain't so great now, but it was worse before. I'm talking about the traffic that I've been watching on the Gizmo all morning long. It just seems to be such a passion to get into and out of Dededo, especially if you're coming out of the Micronesia Mall, the Chicken Joy intersection, and making your way towards Route 3 between the construction and lots of cars and rains. It's just kind of no fun to hang out in that area, and right now it ain't no fun either. Heading into 8, 10, and 16, the intersection itself is clear, but it might take you a while to get through from the post office towards that intersection, seeing that things seem to be fairly busy through there. Is that a slowdown on Marine Corps Drive I see? Yeah, Marine Corps Drive east of Ganya, inbound, just before you get to this baseball stadium. Maybe there's a sale going on over at Auto Spot or something like that. Also, traffic moving slower as you're coming onto Route 4 into Agania, and then making your way to Agania Heights. But things seem to be clear in front of Navy Hospital and Big Navy down in Sumai. 844, that's right now traffic on the point.
I've worked with everyone running for governor. I know what they've done and what they haven't. There have been so many missed opportunities to prevent the crises facing Guam. I know Lou would never have allowed GMH to go without resources. She would have closed the revenue loopholes so that the $8.1 billion military buildup generated additional revenue for Guam. She'll make sure our government lives within its means. I'm Carlotta Leon Guerrero, a Republican, and I'm voting for Lou and Josh.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
You've heard it. I've heard it. Two people get into a disagreement and one of them says, look here, facts are facts, and they're indisputable. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we'll discuss why even after getting down to facts, we can still be in trouble.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
That's nice. Everybody sending hugs on the Facebook. Lady D saying hugs to Shelly Gibson there. I see Brain Merfallen, Pamela Robles, Mark Mendiola. And like I said, Mark sent on the WhatsApp here an idea of what lunch is going to be like. So what is this? This is today's? Let me scooch up to the 20th here on this. Okay, there it is. Okay. One each. Check this out. Pork rib patty on WW bun. I'm assuming that's a whole wheat bun. Or you can get a hamburger patty on a whole wheat bun. 3/4 cup of California vegetable blend or tossed salad and a packet of dressing. Or you can have assorted fruit. So the reason why I bring this up is I'm kind of curious as to what the lunchtime choices are in the schools, number one, and whether it sounds like something I'd eat. Pork rib patty, that didn't sound bad. How about this chicken nuggets? Kids love that. A couple of slices of ham, a couple of slices of cheese. Put that between some bread. You got yourself a sandwich. Tuna, chicken patty, meatballs, and marinara sauce. Turkey hot dog. Trying to think if that's the appropriate use of the turkey. Make a hot dog out of it. Does that sound not appetizing?
Oh no, that's fine. No, turkey franks are actually pretty tasty because they put a bunch of other neat stuff in there too.
Awful. OFFAL is I think what it is. Chicken corn dog. Yes, I love those. And on Fridays they got some days sliced cheese pizza. Or beef tenactac.
Wait, I thought Fridays were supposed to be fish.
Only during Lent.
No, we had Friday. Fish was Fridays.
Oh, really?
Every Friday, yeah, when I was going to school.
I don't see any fish on any of the Fridays. We got chicken corn dogs, chicken broccoli. We've got chicken corn dog or the meatballs and marinara. Hey, this doesn't sound so bad. And when you take into account the fact that it's, for all intents and purposes, free to the kids, maybe going to be some wholesome meal for you. I don't know. 888-8255. It's 847. Ken LG's on the line. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. We have so many first-time voters getting ready to go to the polls, and it was kind of funny and not so funny at the same time. But I've gotten a couple of calls from people who heard that they can vote for Madeline and then flip the ballot over and vote for the other side. I think the Election Commission is going to have big signs in the voting locations to advise these new voters.
That has been the case over all of these years, and I don't know that there's any amount of information that you can get. I mean, I know people that I consider intelligent who have told me in the past, "Oh yeah, I voted for Madeline, and then I voted for Eddie," and I'm going, "You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that."
Did you vote? Did you vote in Hawaii when you lived there?
No, I did not.
Well, they had a real cool system there in Hawaii. Each ballot was in a separate envelope. And when you got your ballots, then you went into a curtained area, and then you had to put one envelope in the box, and then you took the remaining envelope to a voting booth. And that's how they eliminated spoiled ballots there.
Well, the actual smart way to do this, I think, is to because I don't know if you heard the conversation I had with Marie Lezama, or I'm sorry, Marie Pangilinan this morning. But I mean, there are costs associated with this. I mean, you got to rent generators, got to rent the field house. They're going to take 22 buses and make those buses and those drivers sit around and wait for the election to begin and then end. And there's a law on the books that says that the ballots are then transported by DPW school bus from the precinct to the tabulation center. What? Why? Why can we not use small police car instead of burning the diesel all day?
It goes back to the serious and obvious loss of election reform, and hopefully the next class of senators will be up for it. But I'm waiting for the day we get to the other thing that they had in Hawaii that was unique is they had the old tab, the knockout machines where you punch a hole in with the machine.
Yeah, and they use a light to read it.
Yeah, and what that did is also prevented a problem. You couldn't turn the card over and punch the other side because, number one, you didn't have a card.
Right.
And number two, when they did those cards, after you put them into the boxes, there was no way you could open the box anywhere except at the counting station. And those were taken by police, Honolulu police.
Well, I think it would be interesting one of these days. I want us to return to the conversation about automatic tabulators, the computerized tabulation systems.
Well, I'm not ready to go to the computer systems because did you see the reports out of DEF CON in Las Vegas where they brought all the systems in, and within 3 hours and 30 minutes, every single system had been hacked by the hackers, and they inserted code that would do all kinds of different things, like flip one vote to another or multiply one vote by 1.2. So we have not yet got a hack-proof system that we can prevent, so that we can prevent that kind of voter fraud. Not yet.
I got you.
Until then, I think we need to stay with the paper trail.
So I'm going to play something now. You'll be able to hear it, and people that are watching on Facebook Live will be able to see a video that found its way to my inbox this morning. It has already been repudiated by ranking officials, though not Dennis Rodriguez himself, that says that this is not my creation, this is not of my doing. So listen, I'm just going to play it, and then you can give me your response on the other side. It's entitled "Frank Uggan Will Say Anything to Get Elected."
You've seen his commercials. Frank Uggan will say anything to get elected. But behind all the political talk lies these stark truths. Guam has seen Frank Uggan in office for over 22 years, and things have gotten worse. Despite what his commercials say, taxes keep rising. Frank voted for his salary increase, only to oppose it when it was politically unpopular. While career politicians like Frank remain in control, people on Guam are losing their jobs, homes, and hope. In a Rodriguez Cruz administration, they will get the economy working again. People are put back to work, and we can all start achieving our dreams again. Rodriguez Cruz, one day is today.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So who did that? Do you know?
I have no idea who did that, but obviously it was a pure hatchet job. It doesn't even come close to having any truth in it.
Amazing, right?
Well, we got a lot of people who are exploring social media, a lot of people who are watching social media, and I'm actually really pleased to say that so many of the young people that have been following me on social media have been asking really good questions. And, in the videos I put out, I've had a large number of them ask me, where I got my information, the facts that videos. So that's good that the people are not taking these things as gospel.
Well, there's one there about you now. There's a hatchet piece on Ken Leon Guerrero.
I'm not surprised.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
No, it makes a claim that you guys are in cahoots.
I'm in cahoots with who?
Earlier this year, Ken Leon Guerrero made the rounds asking about kickbacks or something. Ken LG approached numerous business owners and a very interesting proposition for them. Let me just, I want to make sure this is sanitized before I play it on the air.
Okay.
But so be listening. Like I said, there's and in fact, I might not be able to. It doesn't sound like it has been annotated. It just sounds like there's this mysterious kind of make me question everything music playing in the background, but there's no guy with a deep voice that says Ken Leon Guerrero's a jerk.
Hey, could you WhatsApp it back to me? So
you know what? I might have. Let me see if I can download it because it came to me on Facebook in Facebook Messenger. So I'd have to download it, put it in my phone, and then WhatsApp it.
It over to me.
Okay, I'll see what I.
Turn it over to me.
Oh, okay. I'll do that while the news is playing. How's that?
Fair enough.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you pretty soon. 8:55. Isn't that the strangest thing? Wouldn't that not be the strangest thing? You know, it used to be once upon a time when I was a boy broadcaster, if you wanted to make a video commercial, you needed a video camera that was worth about $30,000, and you needed an editing system that was worth about $100,000, and then there was no place to put it. It's not like you could WhatsApp it to people or stick it up in Messenger. If you wanted to make some kind of a video thing, you had to buy time on a television station and play it during the news or something like that. But now anymore, in the day and age of very, very efficient technology, if you will, the camera in my phone is about 100 times better than any camera that me and my buddies worked with in 1979. The editing systems are excellent, and they're free on the internet. You can do if you've got the patience to do it. There's no reason why you couldn't do editing and decent transitions, slow-mos and things like that, and put groovy titles on with your phone. They've got good editing systems for the phones. They're just not the kind that I prefer to use. And now, who needs television stations anymore? Really? Think about it, and this will sound like a dig against TV. It's not. It's just it's my observation. I don't use television anymore. I've got a TV at the house. You know what's connected to? The internet. That's what it's connected to. Every time I turn it on, it gives me a saying. It says, "There's no signal detected. Would you like to plug an antenna in?" I'm going, "No, I don't want to plug an antenna in. There's nothing out there that I want to watch." And they said, "Well, what about news?" I said, if something is newsworthy, somebody will send me the link to the clip that PNC will put up or that KUAM will put up. I don't have to watch the whole newscast for it, and I don't have to wait until it's news time to watch it either. So that's my point here, is there's a lot of us that are getting ourselves educated and informed using social media, using YouTube, using Facebook, using the Hulus, using the Netflixes. Unfortunately, we're certainly being entertained by it, but it's possible we're also being misinformed along the way. So watch out. And just because it's got professional-looking graphics on it and what looks like expensive video transitions and titles, and even a guy with a deep voice talking about the terrible things that Frank Uggan has done. It is easy and cheap to do that. You know where you can get guys with deep voices? Overnight. You can get this overnight work. There's an outfit that I use on the internet. Fiverr, Fiverr, I think is how it's spelled. Fiverr. And you can go to them, and you want somebody to make a video commercial for you? You send them the raw, they'll get it done. You want somebody to do a clever-sounding voiceover like that one? They got guys that run the range from rank amateurs to full-blown broadcast well-known professionals.
Oh, yeah. There's actually voice bartering groups that you can get together and you share spots. Hey, you do mine and I'll do yours later.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can get some real high-quality stuff without spending a whole lot of money on it, and that's just the way it is. So here we are, little tiny outpost of democracy in the Republic of the United States out here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we have got some sophisticated fake news stuff that's floating around all over the place. So just recognize it when you see it. We're rolling into the 9 o'clock hour, and I have I have the question. Do I have time? I'll try to do the contest now. News? What? 60 seconds. It's 75 seconds now. You don't think I can do it? All right. Right after the Fox News, we will do the Ray Gibson News Quiz. And it will be, as I love saying, ripped from today's headlines. Current is right now. And that's going to be the basis of the question. And then we'll start taking calls, and whoever it is that gets it right will win a great daily prize.
Yeah, you get a nice qualifying prize, one $10 KFC gift certificate, and a gift certificate for a half dozen Subway cookies.
And at the end of the week, Michael and I are going to do another drawing and see if we can give away a 128-gig iPad from Beyond the Box as part of our Welcome Back to School sweepstakes that we've got going on here. Closing in on 9 o'clock in the morning, the radio station is KUSG, Hagåtña, 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. I got Fox News coming up, and then a whole other hour of political gossip and small talk ahead, right here on the show.
Reforming their ways and repairing their image. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News. The Bishop of Pittsburgh's Roman Catholic Diocese says his church today is not the same one named in a grand jury report detailing widespread child sexual abuse.
I can honestly say that we have followed every single step that we needed to follow to be responsible in our response to the victims.
Bishop David Zubik on ABC's This Week also pushing back against calls to resign. The report says hundreds of priests in Pennsylvania victimized 1,000 children over 7 decades. President Trump and his legal team fuming over a New York Times story about White House lawyer Don McGahn. The paper reporting McGahn extensively cooperated with the special counsel's Russia probe.
The New York Times uses very, very deftly the idea that he cooperated extensively. Well, sure he did. This is a complicated thing.
Rudy Giuliani on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures.
We are confident that he said nothing wrong about the president, and we're confident because the man is a man of integrity, and he would have resigned.
The president tweeting McGahn is not a rat. Former CIA Director John Brennan says he's considering legal action to stop President Trump from revoking security clearances of other current and former officials.
Brennan on NBC's Meet the Press says he believes his criticism of the president's meeting with Vladimir Putin led directly to his clearance being pulled.
I called his behavior treasonous, which is to betray one's trust and to aid and abet the enemy, and I stand very much by that claim.
But on Fox News Sunday, former Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Mike Mullen said he disagreed with how vocal Brennan has become.
Which actually does more damage for the intelligence community, which is apolitical.
Mullen did say he is also worried how the president's action reflects on one's right to speak freely.
Fox's Gernal Scott, Fox News, fair and balanced.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Half a day, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Half a day, I'm David Cruz.
Together, we
approve this message.
My wife and I are really enjoying retirement. We hope to travel more to see our grandkids. But in the meantime, we're being smarter with our money. We switched our internet plan to iConnect and pay only $45 a month for unlimited service. Now we can video chat with the grandkids whenever we want. And our connection is great in Assen. Let's be practical. Why pay more when we can pay less with iConnect? Visit them at the Micronesia Mall, Hagåtña Shopping Center, or the main office in Upper Tumon. iConnect is the practical choice.
National Security Advisor John Bolton in Israel for talks with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Tomorrow's talks between Netanyahu and Bolton will allow the two to dive deeper into the reconstruction process and what that looks like in Syria, and also discuss rising tensions with Iran. It's important to look at the timing, though, of this meeting between Bolton and Netanyahu, because following his 48-hour stop in Israel, Bolton will head to Geneva, Switzerland this week to meet with his Russian counterpart, Nikolai Patrushev. This amid larger conversations with the Russians about the future of leadership in Syria.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Jerusalem. Police in North Carolina investigating the vandalism of a Confederate memorial. The statue shows a winged woman holding a fallen Confederate soldier and his broken gun. From drought to soggy conditions in the nation's breadbasket.
We've got flooding going on across parts of Kansas. We were in a drought situation there for much of the summer through parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. And then we've had way too much rain so far this month, so we've had flooding going on. And that line of storm slowly moves to the east. Behind it, much cooler air moves in. Yesterday we were in the 90s. Fargo today, 68 degrees. Tomorrow, that cooler air moves slightly off towards the east and a little bit farther towards the east on Tuesday.
Fox News meteorologist Rick Reichmuth. Glitz shines at the box office.
Asian Americans, the target audience. Turns out the weekend's top film had much broader appeal.
These people aren't just rich, they're crazy rich.
Crazy Rich Asians finishing first its debut weekend. The romantic comedy making $25.2 million. The shark movie The Meg second with $21.2 million. A big budget action film opening in third.
Deliver that package to here, mile 22.
Mile 22 making $13.6 million. The Ice Age adventure movie Alpha opening with $10.5 million, tied for fourth with
What's done is done when we say it's done.
Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible Fallout.
Fox's Jane Metzler. I'm Steve Rappaport, Fox News Radio.
As a mayor, I see the first-hand struggles our people face. I see the real effects of tax increases and what happens when our government cannot deliver the services timely. I've heard the promises made year after year. I know what it really means when these promises go unfulfilled. Who do you trust to finally get things done right? I'm in with Lou and Josh because they have the experience to lead us and deliver what they promise.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio, Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
And Dave Alcorn approves every message that I make about Kings and Ruby Tuesdays and Chuck E. Cheese. Ruby Tuesdays. You hear that ad they were playing? We're talking about picking out their favorites. Yes, and they didn't say the one I like, the chicken Bella. Love that. And so here's the thing. So we'll have that for dinner tonight. But you know what we're doing for lunch? Kings. We're going to lunch at Kings today, and we're going to get our hands and wrap our mouths around the Salisbury steak. That's the big deal for today. And there's a different one every day of the week. Maybe later on I'll tell you what the other fantastic surprises are waiting for you at lunch at Kings.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, upper 2 on 647-5626, or indebted 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Portions of the program brought to you by MRE, Micronesia Renewable Energy, and American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Hey, don't spend money that you don't need to spend on food, where everybody got to, make that food dollar go a little bit further. And that's why I want you to go to Wendy's, because Wendy's has got a new sandwich there. And it's obviously a great sandwich. I'll just tell you right now, it's a Buffalo Ranch Crispy Chicken Sandwich. Great taste? Well, yeah, crispy chicken, bold Buffalo Ranch sauce, melty cheese on top of that. Great price? Yeah, it's $1. So it's like the whole sandwich there for $1. Where do you get that kind of deal? Well, the answer is Wendy's.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
All right, now it's not an implied thing, right? It's not, that you just listen to the program and you're going to win something, right? But today, if you listen to the program, you'll win something, because we're going to do the contest now. It's the Ray Gibson News Quiz, and up for grabs. We got some grind for you from KFC, and at the end of the week, we'll take all of our daily winners, our daily qualifiers, and put them in a mug, and we're probably going to have Pretty Danielle come in here and pull out a name and then read it on the air.
That's right.
So here's the thing, though. If you won last week, if you won the grand prize last week.
Yeah, that's Ray.
Ray
can't play.
You cannot play anymore because we only got, just so much food you can eat, and only got the 2 iPads to give away. So
Ray don't play, man.
Can't come. You can't. But if you know somebody, you can play. So here's the question. Ketamorpha.
Bless
It's
you.
a multiple choice question. Ketamorpha is what? Is Ketamorpha the next female villain in the next big Avengers movie? Is Ketamorpha one of the Spice Girls? Or is Ketamorpha also known as spaghetti algae? Ketamorpha.
Wow, you're giving him multiple choice.
Multiple choice, yes.
That's a 1 in 3 shot.
888-8255. That's the question. I need you from those choices to tell me which one is the correct definition of Ketamorpha. Is it the new female villain from the next Avengers movie? Is Ketamorpha one of the Spice Girls, or is Ketamorpha also known as spaghetti algae? That's the question. All you got to do is call me up and give me the answer, and I will give you a great daily prize and set you up for the end of the week grand prize drawing. My name is Ray. What's yours? Oh, wait. I got to push the button this way. Hey, this is Ray.
Hello.
Migo.
Hello.
Hapade.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. I know there's a little bit of noise in the background, probably from the rain or something like that, but I got you 5 by 5.
Very good. My answer is C.
C. You believe that Ketamorpha is spaghetti algae?
Yes.
No, unfortunately, that's not correct. Ketamorpha was the redhead in the Spice Girls. No, I'm just kidding. You're right. You're right. It is the spaghetti algae. I'm just messing around. I'm just playing with you. Who's this?
This is Jim.
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
I am very well, thank you.
I'm glad. Are you looking forward to the end of the campaign?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Actually, after the election day, the real campaign starts.
You know, I think you're right. I think you're right. Listen, I'm going to put you on hold, and then Mike is going to say things to you that only winners get to hear, because that's who won already. You're on line 2. Are you calling for the contest?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I've already got my winner, but you can stay on the phone so I can ask you a question.
What?
Who are you going to vote for on Saturday?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, well, think about it and then call me back when you've got an answer, okay? And that's something else, isn't it? There's another one. Are we in small talk portion of the program? Maybe, I don't know. It's 9:11 in the morning. And I was headed out the house on Friday. And I'm busy. I got 20 places I got to run around to. And so my mind is on 20 things, right? And the phone rings. And it's somebody from inside my contacts. And I thought, well, this is interesting. I wonder what this is all about. I wasn't expecting a phone call from this particular person who is deep inside my contacts on the phone. So naturally, I answered the phone because, I was interested. I wanted to know what it was about. And it was my uncle, one of my uncles. And he calls, he says, boy, because he's that kind of uncle. He says, boy, have you decided if you're voting for Ray and Tony? And I said, what? That's why you're calling me up? Because to ask me if this is the second one of those calls that I've gotten. The first one was from a stranger, but this last one here from an uncle. You have to tell me who you're voting for. I said, I'm not telling you whether number one, I'm not telling you anything on the phone. And number two, because he knew who I was. This wasn't a random call. He called me looking to get me to say that I was voting for Ray and Tony. Whether I am or not, that's between me and God, right? At this point. But it was the idea that, what if I'd have said, yeah, Unc, I'm voting for Ray and Tony. With the way
it would be on a Facebook ad somewhere right now.
Exactly. Everything is connected. Then you would see Ray Gibson is voting for Ray Tenorio and Tony Atta. That's what and it would have had a recording of me saying, yes, I'm voting for Ray and Tony. And I'm going, no way. I'm not going to do that. It's fine with me, sort of, that you're calling people. Sort of. I say sort of because it was on my cell phone. So you make my cell phone ring, you should pay for it, especially if it's one of those, if you're trying to get a sense of who I'm going to be voting for in the election. Hey, listen, mine is going to be one of about 54,000 votes that are going to be cast. And what I will tell you that I know, because we promised we'd spend a little bit of time talking some political gossip around here. I will tell you that what I am hearing from people that are behind their polls, behind their own polls, is that there's an incredible number of undecideds out there. And maybe that's the idea. Maybe that's why Unc was calling around, because he wanted to get a better sense of, or maybe bring the numbers of the undecideds down by prodding them a little bit gently towards his candidate. Maybe that's what. Maybe that was the point. But I'm told that the undecided numbers are somewhere between 18, maybe 21%. And the rest of what I'm hearing from some of these guys that are conducting the research is that, yeah, we got a big number of undecideds, but there's not that much daylight between the candidates. Let me say that clear. It's still among some of the polls, at least up until the rallies this weekend, there's still a lot of undecideds, and there are still basically a four-way race. In a four-way tie. Yeah. There's not a whole lot. There's none of the candidates are outside that 20%, if you know what I mean. The numbers are so narrow between them that it's going to come down to maybe coin tosses in the voting poll. You know you're going to vote for a Democrat, you just don't know which one yet.
Yeah, I've come to the point myself where I have absolutely counted out 2 of the gubernatorial candidates.
Okay, but you're not allowed to say on the radio.
I'm not going to.
Okay,
I wouldn't. I'm only going to say
probably
after.
Still buying ads.
Yeah, probably. But I'm still, there's 3. So I'm undecided as well. I'm not quite sure yet.
Right, and you can vote here. We've established
I'm
that.
registered. Yeah.
So you and I are one of 5,434 people that are registered to vote in this upcoming primary election, and that's the deal here. Is that somebody needs to very, very quickly establish some kind of a lead, or it may come down to and I think, Ken, did I read where you said somewhere in one of the letters to the editor, you are actually hearing reports of people, ranking members of the Republican hierarchy, telling voters to vote for the weakest of the Democratic candidates?
I have had a number of people come up to me and tell me that they have been instructed to vote on the Democratic side and to vote for one of what they feel is the weaker candidate.
Mm-hmm. But is it possible, though, Ken? I mean, a poll watcher kind of guy and, pundit yourself. Is it possible that while we cannot establish somebody who is a far and away leader in the Democratic gubernatorial primary, is it also possible that we could not identify literally the weakest candidate?
Well, when you look at it that way, yeah, kind of, sort of, maybe.
Because I mean, and I'll tell you, there's people at risk of my relationship with Pretty Ashley. There are people that will say that that's Dennis Rodriguez, and I'm going, well, you're counting out this massive Filipino vote. And maybe like a little Iglesia Ni Cristo. We're all voting the same way. What was at Mass yesterday? What did the guy at Iglesia Ni Cristo say at Mass yesterday? Did they suggest? I know, but is it possible that, hey, listen, if you go to Iglesia Ni Cristo, then do me a favor. You don't have to give me your name. Just go on the WhatsApp 988-5874 988-5874 and let me know whether or not the whoever's leading, I forget the guy's name, but whoever's in charge, did they gently suggest a particular candidate? That's what I want to know. 988-5874. That's my WhatsApp. Anyway, so like I said, if it's going to be hard for us to determine who the leader in the gubernatorial primary is concerned, doesn't it also stand to reason that we can't find the weakest either?
Yes, it does. And there's still, like I said, there's still a lot of undecideds out there. I'm having lots of conversations with people. And what's real interesting is watching the flip-flops taking place. And what I say about that is people that weeks ago were firmly in one camp, now, when I talk to them, they're in a different camp. And, I didn't see that one coming.
Are you
a camp? They're in there.
Yeah. Are you referring to the among the Democrats?
Yeah.
Or I mean, because there's also the phenomenon of the convertible Republican.
Yeah. Well, I'm going based on my unofficial and totally unscientific, walking around talking to people everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I'd say the undecided is about where you guys were talking about. It's around 20%, down from 40 a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And leaders are starting to emerge, but it's not very scientific. So I'm not going to go say, but I'm seeing a trend take place that's starting to develop. And the other thing that's real interesting is how many young people are so proud of having registered. I mean, everywhere I go, they come up to me and let me know that they've registered and they're voting for the first time. And I'm really happy to see that and hear that. I mean, it was just at the movies yesterday. I had a couple of people come up to me and let me know they're going to vote. Didn't ask them who they're going to vote for. I just said, I just want them to vote. That's all.
I'm heartened by that as well. I like the idea that there are young people that are embracing the tenets of our republic here. We need more of that kind of thing. We need to have people that are more aware of the political reality of what life is like on Guam and wanting to do something about it. Although I don't know that I'm going to nuzzle up to their ideology. I think there's times where young people need to learn both sides of the coin, and they need to be able to think in terms of fairness and justice. They need to think in terms of fiscal restraint.
Yep.
And encouraging capitalism.
That's the argument I use when I'm talking to young people who don't vote. I tell them, you're making a big mistake. And they go, why? I said, because you're young, you have a young family, right? Wouldn't you like to see more sidewalks, parks, better schools, more technology in the schools? Wouldn't you like to see that? And they go, yeah. Well, I'm an old fart. I vote. I want to see more senior centers. I want to take away the sidewalks and put in another road lane. I want to cut the first row of parking at all shopping centers and put accessible parking for old folks. And they go, what? I said, whoever votes controls where the government puts its money. You want the old people to vote? We're going to go for old people stuff. You want stuff for your kids, you better vote, or we're going to take all the money.
That is the way. That is what I've said. The political reality. That's what the big deal is. So I would hope that everybody gets a copy of today's Guam Daily Post and ponders the editorial in there. Without getting too close to something that Bob Klitsky does in the afternoon, I am delighted that they are asking, nudging voters with some of the ideas that they need to think of, to critically think of when they go to the polls. Do you feel safe in your neighborhoods, or have the rampant drug-related problems and other crimes caused you to worry more? Do you feel safe in the neighborhoods? I have a friend of mine, a pretty girl, runner. And she has not gone out running in her usual routine because she was recently accosted by some drunks. And I don't want her going out on her usual running routine. I said, you call me, I'll go run with you.
Yeah, I had someone call me and tell me that in a street in Sinahania, all the cars were broken into.
Are our streets safer? Are the accident-prone areas well lit? Do we have more crosswalks? Are the potholes filled? Do you see more rusty and rotting home appliances and furniture strewn along the roads? Do you see more homeless people? You ever been in Agania about 6:30 at night?
Yeah.
And they kind of walk from here to there and just kind of shuffle from one place where they might be able to get some food or shelter for the night?
What I see is all the panhandlers there at Plaza de España in Chamorro Village hunting down tourists, trying to extort money out of them.
Are the school children in your extended family getting extended family getting the right education, or do you have to shell out money for private school education? Is health care better and within your pocket's reach? Is the cost of living the same or higher than in years past? Are the job seekers in your family able to get a well-paying job on Guam, or do they have to leave home? Are the public facilities run down? Is public transportation still non-existent? Does Guam still feel like the right home for you, or have you thought of joining thousands of former Guam residents, including native Chamorros, who are now living away from Guam because life is just better elsewhere?
And I just talked to people the other day making the move.
Getting out of here.
Lose another teacher.
Don't have enough teachers to begin with.
Yeah, so we can't afford to lose any more. But it goes back to the point you were making there. Young people need to outvote the old people. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they don't get sucked into the drama of the campaigns, the kill, death pieces that are floating around about Frank. Doggone it.
Mean Frank?
Yeah.
Yeah, right after you said it on the air, I got about a dozen private messages and emails. So you're driving the issues.
Good. Listen, it's these are incredible times, and there's Frank Uggan and Alicia. If you think maybe the way to determine who the leader is who's got the most arrows in his backs, I would say that this week it's probably going to end up being Frank Uggan.
Yeah. Just for the reason you just said. I mean, since 2014 is when I first put my eye on Uggan very closely. And the reason he stood out in 2014, he was the first senator to introduce legislation within days of discovering the secret massive pay raise. He was the first one to introduce credible legislation to roll it back.
I believe that's
on my radar since.
Yeah. Anyway, so the gist of the video that's floating around with Ken Leon Guerrero and Frank Uggan is that Ken Leon Guerrero sold out, and you're a hypocrite, and you're not a good man. But there's no good audio on the thing, so I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, there's some good audio on it, and the videos are half-assed as well. So, for the record, I have solicited businesses just like every other politician. So if I'm going to be thrown under the bus for soliciting businesses for donations, then every one of the politicians is guilty of the same crime.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's a nonprofit organization. That's what nonprofit organizations do. Every nonprofit organization out there is making the rounds, hitting businesses and high net worth individuals for donations.
Because that's the way it is. You're right. That's how they make their dough. Anyway, so that's what's floating around. That's the kind of crap that floats to the top of the toilet just before you flush it. So it's interesting, and it makes for good political drama and some decent political gossip when that's all we got to talk about on the radio. But frankly, there's other more important things that are afoot. I anticipate that there will probably be a couple more of these floating around. And but just be wise. The one that I played earlier this morning, that I've actually played twice, might do it again if I get bored. Actually, looks like it is going to be a Rodriguez Cruz ad. The Rodriguez Cruz people have already told me as of 6 o'clock this morning, that ain't us. It ain't our style. That's not our ad.
What is it? What is it?
No, it's the other piece I played. Hey, there was I'll play it again later on. Okay, dude, I got to run.
The one I saw was the me and Frank ad.
Yeah, no, it's different from the you and Frank ad. It's like I said, it's a fake news piece. It's supposed to look like it is what it is. It's a kill death on Frank Uggan, but it ends with Dennis Rodriguez. Looking like a Dennis Rodriguez ad, and but it's not. I've offered Dennis the opportunity to call in to the radio station and completely repudiate it. I don't know if that offer has gone all the way to him, because I have to go through people. But if so, then there's possible that you'll hear or see from him at some point today, and in some media saying, that ain't me. Not my ad. Okay, gotta go. Talk to you. 888-8255. That's 888-8255. Among some of the issues that we're playing around with this morning. Because like I said, it's political gossip, and I live in that world. That's my favorite place. It's how I learn. And to the degree that there are numbers out there, they're not showing that anyone has any of what we like to refer to as dominance. It's like the radio ratings game, right? You might have half a dozen radio stations, and you go to a big market in the States. Right? And in a lot of markets, there might be an old three-letter radio station that everybody's been listening to since Hoover was the president, right? On the other hand, in a lot of blossoming markets, newer markets, you just got a bunch of FM stations, and they're all within the same percentage point of each other.
Pretty much, yeah. Like one will be 8.1, the other will be 7.9, 7.7, 7.5.
All real close. Yeah. And to the degree that the larger markets, that makes a difference, because 1/10% might equate to 500,000 people. So you definitely want to get, every person that you possibly can. Here on Guam, we're not talking about the same kind of thing, especially in terms of politics. So it might be that Lou and Josh might be at 9 and Frank might be at 7. Or 7.5, or Carl might be at 7 3/4%. That's what we're talking about. The big difference, though, is going to be what will happen in the next few days as a huge number of undecideds become decideds. One way or the other, it's going to happen. You're going to have to pick one that you love, and if you can't find one that you love, find one that you dislike the least. If that makes any kind of sense. The devil I know, right, versus the devil I don't.
Yeah, well, it's all going to be pretty much negative, I think, from this point on till Saturday.
No, they're going to sign the Unity Pledge. I told you how that works.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But I mean, what people see.
You don't sound like you believe in the credibility, the veracity of Carl Gutierrez, Lulian Guerrero, and Frank Uglan and Dennis. Shaking hands, all of them with their hands, because together we're all Democrats and we're stronger together. They've always said that.
Is that what it sounded like?
Yeah, I could hear it. I haven't known you forever, but I think we've got a pretty good.
I'm glad I've made my point clear.
I think I understand what frequency you're on here, Mr. Williams. But so they're going to do that today, and then it's going to be hunky dory. Everybody's going to be happy. Now there will be some going low stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be, in the next few days, there's going to be some going low stuff. And the answers are always, hey, I don't know that guy. He's acting outside of my orders. This is not the campaign that I want to run. I'll tell you that right now.
But the younger voters are heavily influenced by that negative, especially when they get it in a video. Because if it's in a video, it's got to be true. If it was on Facebook and on the internet, and in a video, it's got to be true.
So you gotta find a way to I don't know, vet the information that you're looking at, and sometimes the best way to do that is just check out the media. The Guam Daily Post yesterday had the positions, they outlined the top issues and how they're going to deal with them should they become governors. And so all of the candidates have had an opportunity to do that. They're doing it every day. Some senatorial candidates, Amanda Shelton and Kelly Marsh and Joe Terlahi are featured in today's Guam Daily Post. And so if you're curious about those, especially the new names that you've got in there, that's where you go to find the information about them and maybe make a more informed decision about what they think are important. You get somebody that says, to me the most important thing is the environment. You know what? I believe that the environment is important, but I don't think it's the most important thing right now. I think we've got some real money issues that we've got to get a handle on. And I'm worried about corruption. I'm very, very worried about crime. And I know that they're going to have another one of these ketamorph drives down in Tumon to start pulling this stuff out of the water. But if it's a question of taking the resources and putting them there, or getting more resources into the hands of the first responders in the police department, okay, to me that's the big priority. Yeah, the environment. I need to go hug it. You go hug a tree. You go hug that tree. So all right, but we got to make it so that there's somebody around to protect the trees and the people that are hugging them. And that's why we need more guys out in uniforms and in patrol cars. Currently 9:32. This is the Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore, and that's iConnect time. You heard the guy talking about how they're practical and they've got this great service. That they don't have to pay a whole lot. They're not paying as much at iConnect as they could be at other places, right? Use those dollars for something else. So if you need internet, you need mobile, you need push-to-talk plans, iConnect is the practical choice.
I'm voting for a winner.
I'm voting for the only team that's standing up against corruption.
I'm voting for the guys that have a full action plan with the courage to say what's right, even if it isn't popular.
I'm voting for the team that cares about what I think.
They're not attached to any big business.
They're not owned by special interests. They're fresh.
They're young.
They're winners.
This primary election, vote with me.
Vote with me.
Vote with me. Make it your time. Vote for Rodriguez Cruz.
Hafaday, I'm Dennis Rodriguez Jr.
Hafaday, I'm David Cruz.
Together, we approve this message.
Hi, this is Kathy Sorensen. Some of you may remember me as the lady who bought too much furniture and passed on the savings to you. I'm back with Furniture Kathy style, and prices are rolled back 10 years. That's 2018 style with 2008 prices. Come check us out and have a chance to win your dream home makeover. Everything is on sale up to 25% during this grand opening event. Visit us at Furniture Kathy Style in Agana, Instagram, and Facebook.
Are you paying too much for power? Do you want to reduce your energy costs and save some money? Then call Micronesia Renewable Energy and get a solar energy system installed on your roof. Whether it's ownership or a zero money down program, there's never been a better time to go solar. Sign up in August and MRE will pay 1 month of your power bill so you can save even more money. Not a homeowner? No problem. Refer homeowners to MRE and get paid $400 cash. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
What again? It's 9:35. I ran into a guy over the weekend, and he was talking about, and not from here, which was interesting, and he was talking about how much he loves listening to this show. And let me just say here, that never gets old. I never get tired of that. But think about a lot of the show here. It's got my name on it, so yeah, there's going to be plenty of Ray Gibson and whatever snippets of my life and times and crash landings or whatever it is that I do. But the rest of it is just I try to think about how other people observe some of the same things that I do. And sometimes I think that turns into entertaining conversation. And then there's also the interaction on the show. There's all of the people on Facebook Live, and sometimes they bring points to Facebook Live that will find their way on the air. Ismael saying 8 out of 10 19 to 23-year-olds, when I've asked about Governor Gutierrez, has said something similar to the effect of, that's my grandpa's governor, not mine. And to the degree that I've had the interesting conversations with Uncle Carl about that. And it's hard, I think, to court younger voters if you're not from there. And I go to all the fundraisers as often as possible, try to spread my money around as often as I can for these fundraisers because the food's good and the people are groovy. But you go to one of Uncle Carl's things, and the 2 or 3 that I've been at, in many cases, I'm among the younger people there. I'm 56 years old. That's saying something. Yeah. And so is it possible that there needs to be in these last few days more of an outreach to the younger voters? Or is there also a truism here, Ismael, talking to 19 to 23-year-olds who aren't big voters? They are not big voters. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Yeah. You know what's going to happen is somebody's going to reach out to this 19-year-old and say, you need to vote for so-and-so. And they're going to be full of vim and vigor, and they're going to feel like a saint who's just been, awakened and heralded by the horns into this great political heaven. I'm involved. And then they're going to get a note from somebody on Facebook says, hey, Booze Cruise, meet you in Petey at 3. Bow. Yep.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where, the Blue and Josh's strategy up to this point to really blitz social media. And then, of course, not also Dennis, to in a secondary way.
But you still got to get the vote out.
That's their advantage, though, because that's where they're reaching the younger crowd. And so, I actually have to kind of give them the advantage as far as attracting the younger voters. Mm-hmm. But now, does that mean they're actually going to vote for them? That remains.
I'll wear the T-shirt. You know what? And I'm going to your rally because I've seen pictures on Facebook, and the chicks at your rally are hot. So I'm going to wear that. I'm going to wear that T-shirt, and I'm going to go in there. I'm going to do everything I can to. But like I said, hey, Booze Cruise, let's go.
I got my ticket.
And I'm the only reason why I'm saying that is because that's who I was, baby. If my Uncle Jim wasn't running in an election and I didn't need to vote in a primary election, I didn't need to do something like that, you make your decisions. I'm going to go hang out with chicks and drink beer, or I'm going to go vote. But I'll be there for you in the general. How's that? I promise. I'll vote first and then Booze Cruise after that. That's so. It might be one of those things. Are you sure they're going to go out? And maybe you need to have. And this is where it's nice to have the Carl machine. You know, if we're going to be talking about Carl Ishmael, you need to have the Carl machine. You know what they have? They have everybody's phone number. Carl Gutierrez is one phone call away from anybody else on Guam. If he doesn't have the number directly in his phone, he'll call somebody and they'll have the number in their phone.
He probably has half of them.
And it will be, you come to, listen, don't forget, you vote at 8 o'clock and then you come to the house. We're going to have a thing. And they'll go and vote and then they'll come to the house. And everyone in his machine will be called. Will be called. And they will go out and vote. And you just got to make sure that if you're going to be courting younger voters, you got to make that kind of strong connection with them as well. You got to call them when they wake up at 1 on Saturday, somewhere between waking up and Booze Cruise at 3. That's the time that you've got to get a hold of these guys and getting moving through. So that I think is the mentality. What are we looking for? Can't wait for the campaigns to come off my YouTube. Oh, and Cookie Jam games, right? You know, I'm hearing that complaint a lot more these days. I was going to say I don't on most of the things that I watch on YouTube are they go after a specific market. Right. There's a show that I watch called Twert, This Week in Radio Technology. There's never any ads before that because the total viewership might be 600 guys in the world, right? So they're not going to put an Auto Spot or a Payless or a Lou and Josh ad in front of that. You know, some of the other bigger stuff, the other bigger YouTube things, memes and whatever, those might get some attention.
Yeah, I have an app called Clean Master. It helps me clean the junk apps and stuff off my phone. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean some off of here and see if an ad pops up, because one did yesterday. And I'm trying to remember who it was for, but I don't remember.
Oh,
so,
if you go to...
but it's just a regular app on my phone. It helps me, keep the phone clean out the memory, clean out the junk apps.
Yeah, but so it's ad-supported. It's an ad-supported app.
Yeah.
Okay, so the what are they called? The apps for the other two radio stations, Point and Star. If not Point and Star, but Boston Star. If you use the app, oftentimes you will see an ad. One of those AdWorks ads.
Now, in this case, it popped up a car dealer that does not advertise here, so I won't mention their name. But yesterday, I got a political ad on my Clean Master, and I was like, whoa,
okay,
that's crazy.
Well, just for the point of the experiment, maybe I'll do the same thing and just open up one of the other radio stations' apps and see what there is. But yeah, I'm hearing that there are a lot of people that are going, okay, this can't go on much longer because I'm tired of hearing and seeing this ad that continuously pops up. So I don't have an ad on mine yet on the stream, but I'm sure eventually, maybe when the song changes or something like that, I'll throw something else.
Well, I've been trying to figure out why Puma Punko exists, but it keeps getting interrupted every time they get to that part because an ad pops up.
9:42 in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show, and as I said, there's a ton of issues. Sometimes I get to this point in the show and I go, you know what, there's stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I forgot because I'm easily distracted by everything. Ooh, shiny. Ooh, squirrel. And so I have a set of notes. So first thing I wanted to talk about, and we actually talked about, is the snotty weather that we're having right now. And it's not going to get any better for a couple of days. So
although it has brightened up a little bit out there right now. So that's that quiet spot you were talking about earlier. Right. And even Landon was talking about this morning. And but there's more coming. So,
okay, so we're going to have weather for a couple of days. Watch out. Listen to the media. We'll let you know what the watches and warnings are. 12% increase in registered voters, 54,034 as of the last count over at the Guam Election Commission, and that's good. Maria Pangolin, very, very happy to see those numbers increase. I'm sure all of the politicians are delighted now that they've got a number that they can shoot for. I want to win Adelup. I need to get a significant number of these 54,000 people voting in my direction in this upcoming race. So if you figure that a little bit less than half are going to be Republican, so what is that? That takes us down to about 26,000 votes. That's what I'm going to need if I'm going to get some traction. Have you shaken 26,000 hands in the last couple of months? Have 27,000 people heard your ads on the radio? Have they seen your ads in social media? Do you feel lucky?
Yeah, that's a big
well,
one,
do
yeah.
you? Do you? And if not, then that's what you've got to do every day this week. Is you got to go out there, and if you shook somebody's hand, go to the next guy. You already tried to get his vote. You don't have time to shake somebody's hand again and say, hey, remember me? Don't forget, I'm your Gudzu, and you vote for me in the election. You just got to assume he's got your vote because you got to go to the next guy. You got to go and check out the next guy. But the other thing interesting about the story, this is from the Guam Daily Post, they are anticipating a 60% voter turnout. And you know what, I've been in and around the game and you know, have commentated, talked about elections, election strategy, politics for as long as anybody else around here in my age group. And here's something that I'm just completely baffled by. How are they predicting that there's going to be a 60% voter turnout?
Yeah, that would be 32,000 roughly, 32,400 votes.
Okay. So, and again, so we'll do the same thing. Divide that in half. Right? So figure about half of them are going to be Republicans coming out.
Yeah,
But
so
maybe,
you could say yes.
Or maybe not.
16.
Maybe the idea, and I don't know, I'd kind of like to get somebody like Ron McNinch on the line to defend the numbers. It's not that I don't believe them. It's this, I'm naturally skeptical when somebody makes a statement like that. I want to know what's behind that. Right. So are the 60%, are they going to be mostly Democrats coming out for their gubernatorial primary? Probably. Right. Does that mean that there's, 20, 30% of the Republicans are going to stay home?
That may not spell well for their candidate.
No,
because he still has to.
Well, he's still got to get numbers. But number one, but number two, there are a number of senatorial candidates that are hoping to get some decent marks here. And maybe a kind of predictability on what may or may not happen in the general election. Yeah. So there are 19 Republican candidates for the legislature, and they need Republicans to come out and vote.
That's right.
For them. And otherwise, I don't know, how do I want to say this? Is it possible that if it doesn't work out that way, we're not going to see the best and brightest bubbling up inside the top 15? Yeah, Nick's right. It's probably just a guesstimation. Probably just a guesstimation here on how they were able to come out with that number of 60% for the voter turnout. I'd like to know how they get there. And if it is 60%, then it's 60%. Like I said, there has to be something in there that guys can look at and go, okay, I'll figure out how to get of that 60% that are coming out. I need better than 60% of those to vote for me and my team. Also very interesting, Netcare out of the GovGuam health insurance business. Oh, you found him? Okay, good. That's a big story. It is testimony, if you will, to the fact that the government of Guam sucks at paying their bills. Had Robert Hoffman on the radio earlier talking about bills that Cocoa Recycling to the millions of dollars, and Sanctuary, and there's that old story about the Catholic social people that used to take care of the old people, and they weren't getting paid, so they got out of it. It seems like a rush, he pointed out, seems like a rush to get certain other cases taken care of. This land deal here, that dispute there, taken care of. I'm saying he's talking about YTK and the property they put the dump on, the landfill on. And I said, well, it's kind of subtle because both of those had Calvos in their name, right? Is that what you're saying? Can't pay everybody else because we got to make sure that the family gets taken care of first. That's what it sounded like. 9:47, and my very close, very dear personal friend, Dr. Ron McNinch on the line. Yeah, Shelley's also right on this one. My sister Shelley says rain could be a factor in determining the turnout of this upcoming primary. Doc, are you there?
Hey, happy day, Ray. Happy day, Guam.
Are you tired of people congratulating you on your daughter becoming Miss Universe?
No, never. My daughter is walking on air, and she is such a happy young lady, and she always has been. I'm
so glad. I'm so glad. You know what? I remember you'd mentioned something, or somebody had mentioned something about being one of the youngest people to ever run in the Cocoa Road Race.
Right, she finished it at 13.
I remember that, and I remember that. I remember we were all kind of none of us knew what was happening. The heat had affected her that morning. You recall?
Actually, it was cold, wet, and rainy and the wind was blowing, and she got hypothermia. And
Is that what that was? I thought it was the heat thing. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't heat; it was the cold, and yes, we had to take care of that. But she was fine. It was just, in fact, I've seen that happen maybe 10 times to people following long distance races here on Guam. So people don't realize that cold wetness, and when they're running, they're heated up, and then when they stop running with the wind, if they're out in the wind, it'll really hit them.
Yeah, but I haven't had that problem. I just hot and sweaty all the time, regardless of whether it's raining or shiny or anything like that. Hey, but the Guam Daily Post today says party head and analysts see a 60% primary turnout. What are you basing that? How are you getting to 60% here? What's the thinking?
Sure. The classic way of determining voter turnout is to look at the historical. And so you pull previous years and you look at similar races or likely similar races, and then you look at the turnout for those races.
Okay.
And so the most likely similar race to this race is 1998, where we had 3 people on one side in the primary and 1 person on the other side in the primary. And so, that's our best guesstimate, because who knows, we could have an even higher number or even a much lower number.
Mm-hmm.
But a good rule of thumb for a normal primary is probably around 45 to 50% for a normal primary, one that's in the off year, one that's not when we have a huge gubernatorial kind of horse race like we have in this one.
Okay, and so that's what you used. You went back and looked for something similar.
Right. And you look at the most similar, and you see.
Now, when was that? Which one was that? Do you remember?
Oh, 1998. That was when it was Angel Santos and Tom Atta, Lulian Guerrero, and Carl Gutierrez on one side,
right,
and Joe Atta on the other side.
Right. Okay. And we all remember what happened in 1998.
Right.
Carl Gutierrez won that race.
Yes.
I don't know that that's I don't know that that's a predictor for what's going to happen this weekend.
And Carl Gutierrez won it fairly definitively at the primary level, and even though it was a 3-way race, and 95% or so of the voters voted on the Democrat side of the ballot for the governor's race.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is before 2000. After 2000, that's when the U.S. Supreme Court said you can no longer vote on both sides of the ballot. Because it interferes with the association rights of people in political parties.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. So that, I'm trying to sort out what else we need to know in how to do this. Now, what are some of the factors that might come into play that could either increase the number of voters from that sense that you've got 60%, or decrease them?
Oh, I think the key in these kinds of races, when people decide whether to vote in the primary or not, and because really primaries are they're not essential elections. They're not critical elections because they're not really primaries don't really put people into office. General elections put people into office. So primaries are technically what we'd call a winnowing election. That is, they winnow down the field, they whittle down the field to a smaller number.
I don't feel that way about this primary. I just get a sense that whoever it is that's going to win in the Democratic gubernatorial primary will have, I think, a strong shot at becoming the next governor of Guam.
I think that the general elections, certainly a horse race also. It's going to have a lot of heavy-duty dynamics going on with it. It's going to have a very contentious. The primary is going to be contentious, but the general election certainly is going to be much more contentious.
I mean, and Ray's a great guy. Don't take me wrong on this. It's not that I don't think he's a strong enough candidate, but it just seems to me that based on the outcome of the gubernatorial race here, and then other issues and other people that will be on the Democratic side of the ballot. I mean, they traditionally vote in larger numbers.
Well, the Democrats have been shut out of the executive branch for 16 years.
Yes. So they're going to want it real bad.
Right. So that's a little bit of the riddle. is that certainly the Democrats want Adelup back. In fact, that's why they haunt the legislature right now. In fact, the legislature is totally dominated by the Democrats because there are no real political jobs for the Democrats other than the legislature, or unless they become like a crossover in the executive branch traditionally over the last 16 years, which some have done. But traditionally, there's a cycle in, cycle out. You have like 4 to 8 years of Democrats, 4 to 8 years of Republicans, and it cycles in and cycles out, and they all get their rotation. But the last 16 years, that hasn't happened.
Well, this is certainly going to be one to watch. It's too early for me to make any particular calls here. Are you conducting any research right now?
Yeah, I always have numbers on these things. And I got to tell you, in my view, if you want to paint a painting of the Saturday election, you might as well remind yourself you're in the Twilight Zone because it's just that kind of election.
I'm getting that feeling. I talked about this a little bit earlier. My sense of it is, and I get a little bit from other guys that do have some numbers that they were willing to share with me. And I asked for numbers, by the candidates, and they said there's nothing to it. It's still a four-way race. It's still essentially a dead heat from what they were looking at. And the big unknown is to what degree the undecideds will convert to one or the other of the gubernatorial candidates.
Well, that's where I probably disagree with these.
What are you seeing then?
On a methodology basis. Now, Ray, it wasn't that long ago, 2004, we had a phone call early in the morning on an election cycle, right before the election, when I said this is going to be a fruit basket turnover primary, or I'm sorry, fruit basket turnover general election. And it was. All kinds of weird things happened. The Democrats lost their majority and everything else. This is that kind of election. There are no undecideds, and that's the big myth that people keep talking about. Oh, the undecideds. No, there are no undecideds. They're just not measuring the people correctly who are voting in this particular election. What's happened, in my view, and I'm not being overly, I don't want to sound negative or critical or pejorative or anything else, but a lot of the people doing a lot of the polling for this particular election don't have public policy or political polling experience. They have marketing experience. And they're great at doing marketing polls. They're not so great at doing political polling in a small island election like we have.
Okay, so the reason why I asked the question in that particular way was to see if I would get you to give me some information that is available on some of the research that you're doing. Are you seeing? Yeah. So you're not seeing a big chunk of undecideds. Are you seeing a tight four-way race? Has anybody come out and made themselves a front man or front woman?
If any of the 4 candidate teams, or even Ray also, so 5 candidate teams, if they really want to know what's going to happen at the primary, they need to ask a question that fits that particular view that
well, that's the biggest non-answer of the show, Ron. Hold on a second. No, I tell you what, my producer's scowling. I got to take one last quick break here. So I don't think we're going to have any time afterwards, so I'm just going to let you run.
Okay.
All right, I'll talk to you pretty soon. But yeah, if you've got any numbers, send them to me because you got my email address, all right?
Sounds great.
All right, buddy. We're closing in on 10 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG. Aganya. Be right back after this.
I've worked with everyone running for governor. I know what they've done and what they haven't. There have been so many missed opportunities to prevent the crises facing Guam. I know Lou would never have allowed GMH to go without resources. She would have closed the revenue loopholes so that the $8.1 billion military buildup generated additional revenue for Guam. She'll make sure our government lives within its means. I'm Carlotta Leon Guerrero, a Republican, and I'm voting for Lou and Josh.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Leon Guerrero Tenorio. Tony Sanford, Treasurer.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass Rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just swipe your PowerPass key fob when you purchase Circle K Premium Coffee, any size. And after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card. And upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Familiar with the investigation confirms to Fox News that McGahn spoke with the Mueller team at length on 3 different occasions. The report in the New York Times includes a lot of detail about those meetings and the strategies, the thinking surrounding it, details that Fox News has not independently confirmed. A key claim is that McGahn and his attorney, quote, feared Mr. Trump was setting up Mr. McGahn to take the blame for any possible illegal acts of obstruction.
Fox's Ellison Barber covering the president from Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. Former CIA Director John Brennan says he's considering legal action to prevent President Trump from revoking security clearances from other current and former officials. The president yanked Brennan's clearance last week.